John Kincade and Andrew Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Well, it's not Andrew this morning. It's Connor Thomas in for Andrew, but Andrew's with us in spirit. He's relaxing, and he's having some good time off, which he deserves, and we're ready to go on this Thursday morning. Nothing happened last night. Before we get rolling with what we're going to talk about, last night's NBA game was wild.
Yeah.
And you went to bed on it?
I didn't even. I saw the Spurs up at halftime, how much they were up, and I'm like, I got to be up at 4. I'm not going all night to watch them blow out the Knicks.
I can't blame you. I mean, look, I'm not blaming anybody who turned that game off. I took too long a nap. As we were texting later on, I never take as long a nap as I took yesterday because my wife and I were like, oh, we got the house packed up. So we decided to go and have lunch and make it sort of dinner. So we went to an early lunch and had a bigger lunch. Oh, I went like Papa Bear. I took a nap and was like asleep and woke up. So I was wide awake, and I can't believe what I'm seeing. And the Knicks come all the way back to beat the Spurs. Just think of this, folks. The Spurs scored 76 points in the first half of a game and then scored 30 in the second half. That's the first time a team has scored 76 or more points in the first half of a game and scored 30 or less in the second half. Every game that's ever been played in NBA history, that's never happened. But it happened last night in that game, and you asked a question before things started today.
Yeah, is this worse than 28-3, the Falcons-Patriots Super Bowl? I mean, it's on par. It's a 29-point
Statistically, it's
game.
there. No, statistically, it is there.
Like, unbelievable stuff. And this is not the Spurs' first collapse late game in this series. Like, it's insane what – I don't want to call it luck because the Knicks are a very good basketball team. Like, that would be short selling them. As much as I want to short sell New York because I hate that basketball team. But
they're good, though.
But, man, they just don't die. It's insane. If you missed it, go watch the highlights. It's worth your time.
I do not understand when teams lose because of decisions by their coach and their players that I know sitting on the couch could be avoided.
Pressure of the moment, man.
No, but there was no pressure when they were up 14. There was no pressure when they were up 12, and they were running and gunning, taking crappy threes and not burning clock. I never understand clock management. I could be hired. And by the way, there was a time when Dan Quinn was the coach of the Falcons. They hired an ex-Rutgers offensive coordinator to be his clock coach. So the guy was quality control during the week, breaking down videotape and everything, and he was hired just to help Dan Quinn understand how to do the clock. And I'm telling you, I could do this job for NBA teams. I could easily do it for an NFL team. I could help with clock.
Hey, well, you're available on July 31st, so.
I am available.
Eagles, give him a call.
Yeah, I'm available. But you know what, though? Nick Sirianni, I don't think I've ever complained about him in clock management.
Maybe you could be his get-back coach.
Well, no, I please. We've already got the vice president for that. Big Dom for that.
Yeah, he might be a little better at that than you.
By the way, yeah, I think he's
a little
more
bit larger.
I think he's more equipped. I think he's more equipped. All right. We get started, though, so a big win there for the Knicks, so they have a chance to close out the series. By the way, you hear that Saturday night right here on The Fanatic.
Yes.
So you'll hear that right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. But as we begin, Connor, I'm going to make a strange plea to our audience to begin the show. Every day, I implore you, listen to Bill Colarulo and Unfiltered. Listen to it. It's a great show. You just filled in the other day.
Yeah, I love it.
Great show. Really great show. I watch it many days. You know, before catching up on GH and The Young and the Restless, we'll put on Unfiltered. It's great drama on there, too. But I'm going to implore you today to not listen to Bill Colarulo about something. Now, I want you to listen to Bill every single day. But I promise you, on this, do not listen to Bill Colarulo. We all have friends who are really, really good people, great people. But sometimes they will give you advice. I have a very big background in, like, money issues and things like that. And I will hear friends of mine give money advice to their children or to other guys, and I will take them aside and say, you remember, like, sort of what I used to do? Listen to me. That was horrible advice you were just given. Do not listen to Bill Colarulo, and this is the advice he was giving you yesterday. If you listen to Unfiltered, and you should every afternoon, 2 to 6, right here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
No way do I believe that he's going to hold out or there's anything to be concerned about. And, guys, it's June 10th. Like, I don't know how much we can emphasize it. It's June 10th. So turn off the should we be concerned about Jalen Hurts in practice on June 10th? The answer is no. Should we be concerned about Jalen Carter not participating in team drills on June 10th? The answer is no. Ricky, did I mention it's June 10th? Like, I can't take the asinine topics that get created in this city to try to spark engagement and phone calls. And too many people fall for the crap that gets thrown out there and the clickbait stuff that gets thrown out there when it's June 10th. Did I mention that?
Well, here's what I'm going to tell you right here. You talked about Jalen Carter first and Jalen Hurts talking about the Jalen Carter situation. Here's where Bill is wrong with a capital W. And I'm not talking about the WNBA because nobody walks around saying, hey, did you watch the W last night? Bill Colarulo is not 99.9% wrong. He's 100% wrong. Now, if you tell me don't concentrate on Jalen Hurts in practice on June 10th, he's 100% correct. He's 100% correct. But if Bill Colarulo tells you to ignore the Jalen Carter story on June 10th, he is 100% incorrect. Because there is a story there, Connor. And there's a story there that maybe it just flew under the radar of Bill and some other people. But there's a story there. And Nick Sirianni almost let it out of the bag yesterday. He almost did in his press conference when he was asked a question about Jalen Carter and not participating in team activities on the field.
The best thing that Jalen does as far as his mentality with all that?
No, not that one. Jalen Carter. Number there.
I don't have to get into, I'm sorry, I'm not going to get into all those different things. You know, right now, I've been able to work some individual scenarios, you know, and individual practices, and that's where everybody's in a little bit different boat right now of, you know, where they are in the off season, and that's where Jalen is right now.
Nick Sirianni almost bit. He almost went over the line. He was ready to answer the honest answer, and then he stopped himself. Jalen Carter is not unhealthy. He's not unhealthy. Jalen Carter is, in fact, if things do not change in the next 6 weeks before training camp begins, I'm going to tell you now with certainty that he is going to stage a hold-in. You know what a hold-in is?
Yes,
Connor?
he'll be there, but he won't be participating.
Yes. Now, he'll be there. He'll be in the meetings.
Right.
He'll probably work out to stay healthy and do those things. But Jalen Carter will be in a hold-in at the request of his agent if he does not have a new contract by the time training camp begins in 6 weeks. If June 10th, because that seems to be the date that Bill was obsessed with yesterday, which was yesterday's date.
Correct.
On June 10th, the two sides were not close to a contract extension. And the two sides were not progressing smoothly towards a contract extension. It wasn't something that like, oh, you just go, oh, this is going to get done. It's great. Do I think a deal will get done eventually? Sure. Do I think there's a lot of bumpy terrain between now and the deal getting done, Connor? I do. And if things, and I say the big if, unless a lot changes in the next 6 weeks, I'm going to tell you we will be talking about a Jalen Carter hold-in where he's being, I guess, a good teammate, right?
Yeah, it's better than not being there.
Right.
It's better than just going and showing up in Florida like an edge rusher in Cincinnati did last year while his team was getting ready for the season. Like, I'm not overly worried. If he's holding in, it's good optically. It's good for him preparing for the season. It's not the worst case scenario.
He's not getting the snaps with his teammates.
And remember, last year, early on in the season, we heard Vic Fangio make comments. We heard reporters bring up that it was being said around the facility Jalen Carter not in as good a football shape as he needed to be. And that could be a concern if he's not doing the team drills.
I would absolutely be worried about that. There was a player in Dallas last year who staged a hold-in, who ended up getting traded to Green Bay, who everybody in football said the deal's going to get done. We all thought Micah Parsons was going to be a Dallas Cowboy. It's going to get done. It's going to get done. He's there. It'll get done. Jerry will get it done. The deal will get done. And he got traded. We already know the teams have called about Jalen Carter, and there were things that were entertained. At least teams called about him. I do not know if Howie initiated anything, but he's been involved in teams kicking tires on him, which you would understand.
Yeah,
big money
talented
contracts
player.
coming up. I've been told it's not contentious, but it's absolutely far, far from resolved. And it is a story worth talking about. It is not clickbait. It is not out there creating false stories. It is not going to be something that people are talking about that they shouldn't be talking about. Jalen Carter is one of the most important parts of this Eagles defense?
Yes, absolutely.
Is that fair?
Yeah, he's your best defensive lineman.
He is absolutely a superstar in the making. He's not there yet.
No, but he's
not
close.
there yet. He's close. He's an ascending. How about this? He's an ascending star player.
Yes.
And the Philadelphia Eagles need him to get done what they got to get done this year.
Yeah, all these things true.
On June 10th, the day that our young Bill Colarulo, and I say young because I've got the snow on the roof. Guess it's good to have snow. Is that Bill was obsessed with the June 10th date. On the June 10th date, he was trying to tell you it wasn't a story. And I'm here to tell you, well, how many? 16 hours later, it absolutely is a story, and it's a story worth watching. And they are not close on a deal. How concerned are you?
Not at all. Like, maybe 1%, and that's reaching. We talked about this earlier this week. Howie Roseman is in charge of this. And if Howie's running things, it's got to get figured out. You brought up the Micah Parsons thing from last year. That was Jerry Jones playing like WWE or Big Fight Promoter, where he's like, I'm going to pull all of these tricks where we do negotiate, don't negotiate, play hardball with the guy you shouldn't be playing hardball with because your defense needed him. And because of that and the pride and the pompous nature of how Jerry Jones handles his business in Dallas, Micah Parsons found his way to Green Bay. That is not the situation we're dealing with here with Jalen Carter in Philadelphia. Howie Roseman knows better. Like, this is a guy who just got a wide receiver who did not want to be here. There was no mending the bridges with A.J. Brown. You got essentially what you traded for him 4 years prior in return from pretty much the only team that was on the market. Like, this dude is in control of every situation that goes on in this building. And contract-wise, I'm not worried about them finding a way to get there. Now, I know you're saying they're not close now.
Again, June 10th, they're not close.
Exactly. I don't think overnight they skipped Nick Spurs game 4 and decided that they were going to sit down at the table and talk turkey. Like, yes, this could go on for a while. It'll be something we talk about. But I'm not concerned in any way that, one, Jalen Carter will not play this year or play at the start of the season.
The hold-in tells you he'll play.
And two, I'm not concerned at all that he's going to be traded anywhere. He will be an Eagle. He will get the contract. The question is just, what will it look like?
Here's what I'm going to say to you, though, which is interesting. How many players on the Eagles' defense, since Vic Fangio has been here, has he criticized publicly? He has criticized. Jordan Davis, he got on, remember the first year?
Yeah.
About his conditioning. He got on a Bryce Huff.
Yep.
The very first year he was here. Jalen Carter's the only one he's publicly criticized. He's criticized him multiple times about his conditioning level and about things like that.
Yeah.
Now, that could be challenging a great player, or it could be that they're, like, not pleased with that. And I believe there's a little bit of both.
Well, it's not cut and dry of just like we're not talking about. I'm trying to think of a good example here. Let's just use Quinyon Mitchell
for
an example. We're not talking about Q Comes in as a rookie, defensive rookie of the year nominee, all-pro his second year. You could say the same thing about Cooper DeJean.
Absolutely.
There have not been questions about those players in any circumstance. Maybe the only question is, where's Cooper DeJean going to play long-term? And that's more of a benefit than a negative. Jalen Carter, we've had questions about him being in the right shape. We've had questions about the, not really, I don't want to say off-the-field stuff, but timing.
His nonsense last year, he gets kicked out before the first snap of the year.
Yeah. There's more to the Jalen Carter story than some of the young star players on that defense, but there's not enough to the point where this deal won't get done.
And there's absolutely a story on June the 11th at 6:15 in the morning. So, Bill, update your calendar. There's a story, and it ain't clickbait. It's not, and it's worth talking about. Now, Phillies win another series in Toronto last night. That's worth talking about. And honestly, the weird way, and really the weird dribblers and stuff that went down on Tuesday night, they should have swept Toronto. I mean, they came close. But the offense has come alive, and it's something that you've been talking about the last couple of days. And as the host of the Locked On Phillies podcast, it has to be a lot more fun doing the podcast with this Phillies offense just giving the pitchers some breathing room.
Yeah, and the lead story yesterday was do not overreact to Game 2, whether that's the offense, whether that's Joan Duran.
We talked about it.
Yeah, when you see 29 swings and misses out of 50 swings against Dylan Cease, I'm like, okay, that's an anomaly. That's a good pitcher that you just did not see well that day, and every offense is going to have a down night. But what I've seen lately is much better at bats, seeing the ball better. You're seeing guys drive the ball the opposite way, whether that's Bryce Harper, and you saw him hit an Oppo home run last night, whether it's Alec Boehm, whether it was Adolis Garcia, and we'll talk about him in a second. But I've just seen much better tendencies at the plate, and I think this turnaround offensively is real. How long will it last? They will have another cold stretch this year.
There's going to be plenty, yeah.
But they're going pretty darn good offensively, and with the level of pitching that they're getting pretty consistently from the top three guys, you're going to win more series than you lose, and you're going to be in playoff contention, and we're right back where we should have been when the season started.
Now, I don't like the jinx, as you know. I'm not a big fan of the jinx term.
Yes.
At all.
I'm aware.
But I was ready to I did not text him during the game, but I was ready to text Tom McCarthy with the, oh, yeah, it's a rocking chair game for Jesus Luzardo. During the game, he goes, it's a rocking chair start for him tonight. Hit. I'm like, come on, Tom, stop it. And then there was this, 2-inning story from John Kruk about his Mexican league or something.
Yeah.
Stuff getting. The story was so long. I swear to you, I honestly, there are series that I binged on Netflix that went faster than that.
Hey, man,
that story.
There haven't been many 6-run games where the Phillies are up this year. They're mostly in 1-run games, so Kruk's got stories built up he's got to tell the people.
I mean, I think Ozark, you could have binged Ozark in the amount of time that it took John Kruk to tell that story last night. But the Phils have an off day today. They fly to Milwaukee, and they're getting ready to take on the Brewers this weekend. That should be a good test.
Yeah.
Brewers are a good team. And the number 8, does 8 mean anything to you now? 8 games out in the division? I said, look, if it could be by the All-Star break, if it's 6-5, I'm intrigued.
Acuna's on the IL.
Yeah, 9 more days on the IL.
You might be short in the outfield, though. I'm not even considering the division. You'll know it's a race when it's a race. Right now, it is not.
I just want the top wild card spot by the All-Star break, and I want to be at least 3 games up.
Yeah.
Not on that thing, but in the playoff berth, 2 teams behind you, and the team that's out of it is 3 games.
I'm not even looking at that. Just win 2 out of 3 series going forward consistently. They can do that. They're that good. And if you continue to do that, you'll be right where you want to be. That's all I'm looking at as far as the record is concerned. But the outfield, Johnny, is
a little thin.
It's going to get sketchy because Adolis Garcia, if you did not see last night's game, tried to make a throw to home. It was a rocket, as always, for him.
It was a rocket.
And he's grabbing at his right tricep, which is never a good sign. Sounds like they're getting imaging today. Don Mattingly said after the game a little concerned about it. They do not have organizational depth in the outfield.
Okay, is there a name? Nori's not ready, right?
No, there is no name. There is no name. There's some guys on like minor league contracts that have played in the majors before. The best of those hitting like 175 right now at AAA. Like,
are there any journeymen out there?
I guess you could find someone on the street, but
Max Kepler already signed, bro.
Yeah, well, I'm still thinking a righty because you need to keep that balance in the lineup.
You got to keep a righty. There has to be some. If our audience knows any guys on the street that are right-handed hitters,
I'm available. I could bat
The thing is, I don't want you doing that. They already have enough guys in the organization like that.
Need you to produce the show, man.
And we need you. We need you
point.
here. And when Andrew's out, we need you bringing the A game like this.
Yeah, so that gets a little sketchy for the Phils. Hey, good series win. They face Mizrowski and Milwaukee when that series starts.
Friday night's going to be, that's going to be awesome.
Yes.
That's like must-see TV.
Absolutely.
So it's great.
But they're doing good.
And they got to face Sanchez on Sunday.
Yeah, so it'll even out.
Screw you, Milwaukee. That's good. Hey, another contract situation for the Eagles. Just got a bit more complicated and a bit more expensive. I warned you about it. Kincade Salciunas, Connor in for Andrew, continues on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Jalen Hurts is locked in. I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. Over the course of the offseason, there's been a lot of chat about Jalen Hurts, and if you remember that story that dropped in the spring, there seemed to be some doubters. What head coach Nick Sirianni's spoken about. Jalen Hurts relishing in those moments.
The best thing that Jalen does as far as his mentality with all that is his consistency. To know that you're doubted or being questioned, you have to pay attention to what's going on the outside. And one thing I know Jalen does is stays locked into the moment and what things that he can control.
Now, the Eagles have wrapped up minicamp, and they're going to be off until late July when training camp begins. For the Phillies, they win yet another series on the Don Mattingly, this time against the Blue Jays. The team clubbed 3 home runs in their win. Sadly, Adolis Garcia left the game early due to a pulled muscle in his right arm. The Fightins are off today. They're going to head to Milwaukee to face the Brewers. Andrew Painter will be on the mound versus Jacob Mizrowski, with first pitch being at 7:40. The New York Knicks completed the greatest comeback in the NBA Finals last night as they were down 29 points to the Spurs. And now they're up 3-1 in the NBA Finals. You can listen to the NBA Finals right here on 97.5 The Fanatic, as Game 5 is going to be Saturday night right here at 8:30. And from on Patterson, Anthony Sanfilippo is going to join the show at 7:30, and Andrew DeChecco is going to be in studio from 8 to 10. This update is brought to you by Positive Coaching Alliance. Questions about your youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA National Nonprofit develop better athletes and better people through sports. Info at positivecoach.org. I'm Austin Jones on The Fanatic.
White. They're here for the pro. So we have a Twitter poll up already this morning thanks to Dr. Avidan Appel of Iron Mountain Men's Health. The Twitter poll will be standing strong all morning long with Connor Thomas next to me and for Andrew Salciunas. John Kincade with you on Kincade and Salciunas. Our Twitter poll of the morning, Austin Jones sitting in Connor's chair today. So what is the Twitter poll as we start the morning?
Good morning, gentlemen. Today's Twitter poll is, how deserving do you believe Jalen Carter is of a huge contract extension? Our options today are going to be no-brainer, cautiously optimistic, and very nervous. And just give me a second as I had to refresh my Twitter because the app wanted to crash on me, so I apologize.
Yeah, you can hold on. We can get an update on it in a few minutes. I'm more interested to know where you would vote, Connor.
I already voted, and I voted no-brainer.
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 I think it's a no-brainer, too.
Yeah.
I'm thinking this will be a runaway no-brainer, but I'm wondering whether people will feel there have been issues with Jalen Carter as far as his conditioning. There were issues as far as his maturity.
Yeah.
There have been issues that you're going to commit a huge amount of money to this guy. I just can't pass on the talent.
No, that's the thing. Those are all fair questions to have about Jalen Carter. And if you're not voting no-brainer, I think you're overthinking this. Because while those are part of the equation, what you got to look at is a guy who's a potential superstar caliber, middle-of-the-line guy. Like, you saw what Fletcher Cox did for this organization for how many years. And we've been blessed with great defensive line play more often than not here in Philadelphia. But when you do not have it and you can't get to the quarterback or you can't stuff the run up the middle, like, it changes entirely. Vic Fangio's not going to be here forever. Right? He said, I got 2 more years. The doctors say I'm aging backwards. All that's well and good. At some point, Vic Fangio is going to stop coaching the Philadelphia Eagles defense. I imagine that will be before Jalen Carter's NFL career is over. And at that point, you're going to have to lean on the talent of the players to maybe make up for a lesser defensive coordinator. You can't let a guy as talented as Jalen Carter walk out of this organization, especially not at this point in his career where we haven't even seen him hit his prime yet. So, no, the talent completely outweighs any of the negatives. You never let guys like this, good organizations, don't let guys like this out of the building.
Andrew DiCecco joins us for the second half of the show, so he'll be there. And he was out at minicamp, so the mandatory minicamp, so he'll tell us what he saw. He'll download that notebook for us at 8:30, but he'll join us at 8 to talk about the stories of the day. The Jalen Carter story being the first one, the one that Bill Colarulo wanted you to just ignore yesterday, but on June 11th, maybe it was the June 10th date.
Yeah, maybe he is the day.
Maybe Bill comes in today on June 11th and goes, now pay attention to it. Because if you're not paying attention to the Jalen Carter story, you're missing it. But there's another Jalen we need to talk about. And it's a story that I warned you about. Jalen Hurts didn't get extended. And now Jalen Hurts has absolutely gotten more expensive by you not extending him. Patrick Mahomes cashed in yesterday. He sets a new penthouse mark for quarterbacks that he is the standard. If there's anybody living in a penthouse at the quarterback position in the NFL currently playing, it's Patrick Mahomes. He sets it. $64 million a year, his contract average now, and he extends out now through 2033. So he is now carried through that. But I want you to hear a little bit of Jalen Hurts yesterday. Jalen Hurts out at the Eagles mandatory minicamp talked about his contract situation.
Yeah, for me, I'm truly focused on being the best that I can be right now. And that's what my energy is. There's a lot of change as is. I'm focused on this offense. I'm focused on building with Sean and being at my best.
Like that answer, right?
Yeah, love that. I mean, if he plays well this year,
right,
it's going to take care of itself.
Now, I don't think he has to play well this year to get it because I think he's going to get it. I do believe he's going to get it earlier, but it does surprise me because now the price just went up yesterday.
You think it's going to happen, before the season, during the season?
Well, it depends. Here's what I'm going to tell you is every time a quarterback signs a contract, Jalen Hurts gets more expensive. Every time some other quarterback signs, it's going to cost you more to get Jalen Hurts. The $60 million number was the Dak Prescott number, but that was on a franchise tag. So it was that was a whole different animal as far as that. You now have one not on a franchise tag where it's $64 million. That's a huge jump.
Sure.
The $4 million a year is a huge jump. It doesn't sound like it when you're talking about $64 million. but it's a huge jump. And now Patrick Mahomes has set the new penthouse for quarterbacks, which means all the other numbers come up. Jalen Hurts got more expensive right there.
Yeah, and he was going to. We knew contracts were coming down. Here's what I'll say. If Howie Roseman was concerned about other contracts, other extensions being signed, and making Jalen Hurts more expensive, he would have done the deal already. That is not going to influence him now to, Jalen Hurts gets an extension before the season. It's not going to happen.
Now what you got to watch for is that, is he going to sign before Lamar Jackson? Because Lamar Jackson is also up in that same window where you're looking for him to get the next contract. If Lamar Jackson signs before Jalen's not taking a penny less than Lamar Jackson.
No, and he shouldn't. But I think we're already at the point where Howie Roseman and the Eagles have accepted that. Or we would have seen them do it already. If he was trying to beat the market, the deal would be done. They're not trying to beat the market. They're trying to see what he does this year under the Sean Mannion offense, and they've already played their cards. So I don't think he's getting an extension this offseason. I don't think he's getting one this season. I think it will be after the 2026-27 season.
Which, by the way, he has 2 years left after this season.
Yeah.
So it's not like he has 3 full years left of Eagles control.
So you're not going to see a hold-in like you're seeing from Jalen Carter potentially with Jalen Hurts next year. That's not happening.
There is nothing like that, and there doesn't seem to be any contentious nature or language or anything from Jalen Hurts about it either, which is great. Jalen Hurts, though, also spoke about the ESPN article where he was sort of being painted as, I want to use the right word, part of the reason that there were problems with A.J. Brown?
I think that's a fair way to say it.
Okay, let's hear what he had to say.
A few months ago, there was an ESPN story that was written specifically about you. I want to give you an opportunity to respond to some of the things that were bare in that story, one of them which is that you were the person behind the last play of the season. You actually asked for that play. Is that true? And what is your response to that?
Yeah, I've never really asked for an opportunity to respond to anything, so just let it live and go do my job.
And what about the last play? Was that something you directed or asked for, or?
No.
No.
That's a no. As clear
That's
as
a
it
no.
gets.
That is a no. Definitively a no. That Jalen Hurts did not call the last play. So I guess the A.J. Brown camp a little, maybe not pleased with that answer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they care at this point because he's already moved on. He's in New England. I don't think they were still watching that narrative, but I think for Eagles fans, it's important for how to frame it. It was not your franchise quarterback as long as you take Jalen at his word.
It was the cartoonish offensive coordinator.
That's who I believe it was. That's who I always believed.
Or it was either it's one of 3 people, and now on the record publicly, the franchise quarterback says, no, it wasn't me. So it was either Nick Sirianni or Kevin Patullo that called the play.
Yeah. I mean, yes. That's
both
where we're
of them. Both of them were there. Their fingerprints could have been on the crime scene, but it's one of them. It was either Nick Sirianni or Kevin Patullo because Jalen Hurts flat out goes, no.
And that changes nothing from where Eagles fans should be because one of those guys, Nick Sirianni, we know should not be calling an offense at the NFL level. He does great things as a head coach in other facets. He should not be calling an offense. We learned that years ago. And Kevin Patullo got himself fired and is now down in Miami. So if it's either of those guys, it changes 0% about how I look at it. As long as it's not Hurts and he says no, which we haven't heard anyone dispute since that press conference. I don't think we're going to hear anyone dispute that. It was a bad offensive coordinator or a guy who did not allow the offense coordinator enough leash, which I get because he wasn't good at his job. Either way, Sean Mannion's running things now. I don't think we're going to see the 4 Verts conversation. I hope we're not going to see that pop back up.
Now, we have our poll question is up, and we'll check that later on. But we have any early text messages that have come in on the text line? Of course, that's the Davis Honda text line. Feel the Davis difference at Davis Honda in Burlington.
Yes, you asked for a right-handed bat that could play the outfield, and the first one we got was Nick Castellanos. So that's where we're at, people. And they said, well, we're already paying him.
No. Absolutely not. Not a chance. Don't even consider it.
By the way.
He's down in Miami now, chilling.
By the way, though, so I had to check a little thing is. They could ask him to come back to work, but his Players Association rules, since they let him go and they released him and he went to San Diego, he does not have to come back to make that money.
No.
So the Phillies cannot say to him, "Where we're paying you, get back to work." They have no rights to him. I had to check that legally because I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. Since they're still paying him and he's out, could they call him back to work?
If you got fired from your job, you got a nice severance package, and you were sitting at home, maybe you had a nice European vacation planned, you're spending time with the family, and the company that let you go calls you up and says, hey, you want to come in, work a weekend shift real quick? Hey, well, just try it out. You know what you're saying? Hell no. You're paying me to not do this. You told me I wasn't good enough. You said you didn't want me there. I'm not coming back a couple of months later to just fill in because the guy got hurt. That is not realistic. Get the Nick Castellanos idea out of your head.
Okay, I know we have some dorks in the audience because I know we have some dorks that host this show. Not looking at myself. Even though I am. Is there have to be potentially some right-handed bats somewhere.
So we didn't get any through the text line, but while you guys were going back and forth in regards to Jalen Hurts' contract, I did some little research.
Okay.
And I went out to I want to make sure I gave the proper website, Fangraphs. I went to see who is currently still unsigned. And, yeah, I think I want Connor Thomas out there because I'm looking at Manuel Margot, who hasn't played in the bigs in years. And we're also looking at Chris Taylor. I looked at right-handers that could play left and right field.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're not going out and getting anybody.
How can baseball be this bad? We have parents who literally force-feed their 10-year-olds and 12-year-olds into playing 150 games a year and play travel ball with their monogram golf bags and their travel teams. And baseball quality of talent sucks at a level that it has never sucked so bad.
There ain't that many major leaguers out there.
Yeah, but it sucks. Baseball talent sucks today at a level that we have never seen it suck in my entire lifetime. We have never seen this many bad players. The Mendoza line, never this bad. We have never seen it this awful. I've never seen rotations this bad, where 5-guy rotations, you used to say your fifth starter was the bum. Not nowadays.
Are you saying cut Dave Dombrowski some slack because maybe there aren't as many options as people think there are?
No, they spent too much money on some bad guys. Old. Hey, the Flyers got some potential bad news on a future draft pick. Kincade Salciunas continues here on the Fanatic.
And you know what starts today? Oh, the world's biggest soccer tournament. It's arrived, and you could trade the entire tournament on Kalshi. On Kalshi, you could trade every single match from the opening stage all the way to the final. Today, 3 p.m., you get the first match, which is Mexico taking on South Africa. If you want to trade on that, well, Mexico, the heavy favorite, trading at 70% probability to win that game, which means a $100 trade pays out $139 if they win. You can get a nice little start to the tournament and look at all kinds of stuff. Who's going to win it all? Maybe you want to move to a different event. UFC Freedom 250 is this weekend live from the White House South Lawn. You could do Philadelphia baseball if you want. They've got everything. And the biggest soccer tournament in the world is a great chance for you to check out Kalshi. Maybe it's your first time. Well, let me tell you about them. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. So for a limited time, download the Kalshi app and make sure you use code Fanatic because you're going to get $10 when you trade 10. That's Kalshi, Kalshi. Trade the beautiful game. 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see Kalshi.com/regulatory.
Welcome back into Kincade Salciunas this morning. I was telling Connor about a scary movie. Too Late for Work, I think it was called. Too late. I told you. Too
Not
late
safe for work.
Not safe for work.
Yeah.
That if you have a chance to find this movie, find it. I've never heard of it. Saw it about a guy who is working late at like a high-rise firm in like New York City and in a building, and the entire floor gets like locked down, and him and this other guy are working late, and someone in the firm is trying to kill like the CEO, everything like that, and try to kill off the executives who are there for a meeting. And they don't realize he's in the building, that this guy stayed late. And he witnesses a couple of the murders, and he's on the floor locked in with all the it's unbelievable.
This is why I'm just producing.
What's the streaming platform for that, John?
I think it was Netflix.
All right.
I think it was Netflix, but watch it.
Put it on the weekend schedule.
I will tell you, though, if you are anxious, if you like suspenseful movies, it's great. It's great. And I had never heard of it. So if you get a chance to check it out. The NHL, Connor, it came down yesterday. They ruled on the Flyers and the Maple Leafs deal about their first-round draft pick for 2027, and it potentially complicates the Flyers situation because all of us were thinking, wow, the Flyers could end up with the Toronto Maple Leafs #1 pick next year. But no, not so fast.
And now it can be offered somewhere else, and you get it in 2028. It's this weird convoluted thing that I'm not too familiar with, and any type of wrench thrown. Like, I've long been on the patience train for the Philadelphia Flyers.
I am too.
I know not everybody is, but I think this is a sustainable build that you need to continue the time frame. But 2027 is going to be in the go zone. I firmly believe that. I
believe it absolutely will be.
Another playoff year.
Next year's draft, hopefully make the playoffs next year, then next year's draft and more money available for you.
Yeah.
Go for it.
If you push that to 2028, if that pick pushes a year later, well, the time frame changes, and we're starting to get to the point where you could be restricted from either using that as an asset or also drafting that player and trying to get them up. We saw Porter Martone come in here, and I'm not saying every first-round pick is him, where you could bring him up with like 6 games left, and next thing you know, he's a point-a-game guy. But anything that messes with the Flyers' window right now and either pushes them further back or maybe prompts them to do something a little bit more aggressive that they weren't previously planning on, I want this to be as little of rock-the-boat territory as possible. Now, we've got Anthony Sanfilippo of On Pattison joining us.
Okay, so we have somebody educated that can make this less complicated because it appears Toronto can offer the pick to Boston ahead of the Flyers.
Yes.
If it falls within the top 10.
And guess what?
Kevin Kerr's put out.
It's going to be in the top 10.
Right, so
I think they're going to have a top 10 pick.
I guess my question that I would ask for you guys to ask Anthony is, in regards to that pick falling in the top 10, like, how does it benefit saying it goes to Boston compared to the Flyers?
He'll know.
Yeah, that's my question as well.
I guarantee he'll know more about it. And I thought it was great of you to be able to line up Antsan, not only talk about the Phillies run.
Right.
But we knew that somebody would give us a little bit more because it does sort of suck.
Yeah,
that would have been great.
I imagine that was already baked into what the Flyers were planning on doing over the next few years, which is one of the bigger stretches in recent memory for this franchise. And anything that changes on that has me a little bit sketched out with how will the Flyers respond. I trust Danny Briere and Keith Jones to handle it, but if they have something, a plan, this fits perfectly. We want to target this position, or we want to use that asset in 2027, or maybe even this offseason to do something. People can get skittish when the plan changes, and they've been pretty safe with their resolve. But if they are now pressed into a situation they didn't plan on being on, how does that change the way that they approach this offseason?
I told you before, I do not believe the Flyers at all are involved in any Austin Matthews sweepstakes or mortgaging the future to go after some older star player who's been beaten up. They're going to stay. They finally cleared the salary cap. They finally have the deck stacked with draft picks and things like that. They have clean books. Now is not the time to go all chips to the center of the table just because you made the playoffs once. Got to do this thing right. You can hopefully fix this thing for long-term success. Our poll question of the day brought to you by Dr. Avidan Appel, Iron Mountain Men's Health. Do we have an update on the poll question of the day? And again, how deserving do you believe Jalen Carter is of a huge contract extension.
Yes, our three options today were no-brainer, cautiously optimistic, or very nervous. Leading the way so far is cautiously optimistic. Second place, we're looking at no-brainer, and very nervous in third.
How much is the breakdown here?
Yeah, so I didn't provide the percentage there.
Sure.
It's 52% first place, 39 for no-brainer, and 9 for very nervous.
Connor, both you and I said no-brainer without even hesitating, and cautiously optimistic is winning.
I'm not surprised.
I voted no-brainer as well.
I'm surprised.
I'm not.
Why?
Because people are going to overthink the I don't want to call it off the field stuff. All of the things that we've heard about Jalen Carter in his time here in Philadelphia with the being in the right shape and being on time for things, like, you want a perfect player. And I get that. When you're giving, because the way that it's worded, a huge contract extension. That's what it's going to be.
Well, it's going to be huge. It's going to set the market. It's going to be. It is going to be one of the top contracts ever given. It's going to be the biggest contract ever given to a defensive player in Eagles history.
Yeah, and that's just part of that's just the market of where the sport has gone. But my point is this: when you think about giving out a huge deal to somebody, you want them to be perfect. You want them to be flawless. And
it's like
guess
when we
what?
paid you when we did Connor's last deal. It was the same thing. Scott was worried about it. He goes, "Can we count on Connor?"
I wish I was getting what Jalen Carter was getting. But bottom line, I think people are going to overreact to the negative when the much bigger part of the equation is this dude is way too talented to let out of the building. It's a no-brainer. And I'll guarantee you this. When Andrew DeCecco comes in here at 8 o'clock and we ask him that question, he's going to tell you the same thing.
You can't let him go. I mean, I love watching Jalen Carter play. Do I wish that he was a little more complete? As far as his whole approach and everything, yes. But I don't believe it's a problem.
Absolutely. And guess what? If the Dallas Cowboys handled this business a different way, I would like to avoid the way the Cowboys did it. I think that's a pretty safe rule of thumb over the past 20 years of NFL football. Do the opposite of what Dallas did.
Hey, the Phillies won yet another series. Donnie baseball, baby. But it's the bats that are the real story, according to our own Connor Thomas. We'll talk about that and how sustainable it is as they look ahead to a big series this weekend. The next hour of Kincade Salciunas comes your way. It's 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Jalen Hurts is locked in. I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. Over the course of the offseason, there's been chatter about Jalen Hurts. And, you know, if you remember that story that dropped back in April, there was definitely some doubters that have been circling around Jalen Hurts, while head coach Nick Sirianni spoke about if Jalen Hurts likes to relish being doubted.
The best thing that Jalen does as far as his mentality with all that is his consistency. To know that you're doubted or being questioned, you have to pay attention to what's going on the outside. And one thing I know Jalen does is stays locked into the moment and what things that he can control.
Now, the Eagles will be off until late July. That's when training camp is going to begin. For the Phillies, they win yet another series under Don Mattingly, this time against the Blue Jays. The team clubbed 3 home runs in the win. Sadly, Adolis Garcia left the game early due to a pulled muscle in his right arm. The Fiends are off today, but they're going to head to Milwaukee to face the Brewers for a weekend series. Andrew Painter is going to have the first start of the series against Jacob Mizorowski, with first pitch being at 7:40. The New York Knicks completed the greatest comeback in NBA Finals last night as they were down 29 points to the Spurs, and now they're up 3-1 in the NBA Finals. It's craziness. The series returns to San Antonio Saturday night. You can listen to the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic, as tip-off is going to be at 8:30. From On Patterson, Anthony Sanfilippo joins the show at 7:30, and Andrew DeCecco is going to be in studio from 8 to 10. I'm Austin Jones on your home of the NBA Finals, 97.5 The Fanatic, and the Fanatic app.
Set your timers. Anthony Sanfilippo joins us at the bottom of the hour. We'll catch up on the Phillies and their recent tear. And also we'll look ahead to, we'll get him a question in there on the Flyers and that draft pick, get some clarification on that. Andrew Checo joins us at 8 o'clock, around an hour from now. So we'll have some information on there. All the things you need to know with that, including we're going to play a little game with everybody in the crew.
Ooh, I like that.
I like games.
Because the NFL Network is coming out with the Players Elected edition of the NFL's Top 100. We're going to do this in the 9 o'clock hour. Last year, the Eagles were represented by 8 players in the NFL's Top 100 list as elected by NFL players. The Eagles had 8 of the top 69 players in the NFL last year.
I would say that number's going to go down.
And we're going to look at how many of the Eagles players that were represented last year. One of them gone, A.J. Brown. We're going to look at how many of those players will go down, and we're going to try to predict how far they will drop down.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. It was not a great year for a lot of guys, at least when you look at numbers-wise, how much of that was Kevin Patullo when you talk about the offensive players. It'll be interesting. I'm excited for that.
And do they have anybody else that will join the list? And with DeCecco here, he'll probably get the numbers like right on the number.
Probably, yeah.
We'll write down his predictions, and he'll probably have it exactly correct later. So don't miss a minute of it, and thanks for hanging out with us this morning. So the Phillies win another series, which is great. It continues to be, and to me, it's weird and this is a very fair comment from Steve. One of our listeners, Steve, and we appreciate Steve, listens. And Steve goes, John, I may be just hypersensitive to this as a listener, but I really bought into your mentality, and I've actually followed it now for 3 baseball seasons of not following the standings until Memorial Day. But it seems now you've become hyper-focused on the standings, and it's only like 2 weeks later. I don't think that's unfair. I said, Steve, I don't think that's unfair of you, but I just want to know you're firmly in playoff position before the trade deadline, because I really am sort of obsessed on wondering what this organization is going to do.
Yeah, I mean, here's something that should put your mind at ease with that. What have we talked about with the deadline the past couple of years? There's 2 contributing factors to why you haven't been able to make as big of a splash at the deadline. One is that the Major League Baseball trade deadline is way too early in the season. They need to move it back. They won't. But again, this year, it's way too early. So it being that early restricts the number of teams that are selling. And the second part of that is the extended postseason, since they've added the extra wild card spot, keeps pretty much 75+% of teams in baseball in the mix at the point of the trade deadline, which, again, those points play off each other. It's why it needs to be moved back. But if you think that there's anything that's going to happen between now and when we get to the deadline that is going to make Dave Dombrowski and John Middleton, the brass of this Phillies organization, believe that they are not a postseason team and a team that needs to be aggressive, I'm going to tell you it's not happening, right? They're going to keep with the goal from the start of the season, which was we're competing for a championship.
Steve's a pharmacist.
Oh, smart guy.
Steve listens from 6:45 to 7:30 every day, he says.
Appreciate that.
On his commute. So Steve actually programmed this segment because he asked me to do a little exercise that he thought would put my mind at ease, and he said would get you to stop talking about the GD standings of the wild card every morning.
Steve, I'll tell you right now, if you're trying to get John Kincade to stop talking about something, you got a long road ahead of you. But we appreciate the effort.
But, so here's what he asked me to do. He said, you go through this process on air with your team. And the question he says to ask is, will any of these teams beat out the Phillies over 162 record-wise?
All right.
Okay? So, Austin, I want your vote, too. The Rockies.
No.
No.
The Giants.
No.
No.
The Mets.
No.
You don't even think the Mets you could put a could?
Nope.
No.
That team stinks.
Yeah, no.
I'm going to put the Mets as a could.
They're using all their luck on the Knicks right now.
Okay, I'm going to put the Mets as a could. The Reds.
No.
No.
You guys definitively go no?
Yep.
I'm going to say could with that pitching.
That's too tight of a division. They're not going to win enough games.
They came in here and shut down the Phillies bats. They made the Phillies bats look like fools.
Yeah.
The Marlins,
No.
not over 162.
No.
The Cubs
Yes.
could,
Yeah.
as
They
a
could.
could, right?
No.
Really?
They don't have enough pitching to sustain it. They're too volatile of a team.
The Nationals, no.
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 I give a distinct no. The Diamondbacks, I say no.
Maybe.
See, I don't. Okay, so you give them a could.
Yes.
The Pirates,
No.
no. Okay, so those right now, it's the Cardinals, the Phillies, and the Padres are in the wild card position. So I just gave you the teams that are out, the 9 teams that are out of the playoff position. So I have, as the coulds, I give the Mets, the Reds, the Cubs. Mets, Reds, Cubs. Right now on June the 11th, I go Mets, Reds, Cubs as the teams that could.
The Mets are 9 games under, and they have not gotten anything. You could take the Mets out of there.
Okay, so you take
You
the
can
Mets
make an
out.
argument, I guess, for the Reds and the Cubs. The Mets are dead.
Okay, here's all I'm going to say to you right now is that, okay, the Mets are 7.5 behind the Phillies. They were further behind the Phillies on June 11th, the year they beat them in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even though they didn't come back and catch them in the division, 7.5 is nothing. The Phillies had a double-digit lead on that team, and the Mets surged in the second half. So you write them off.
They're so dead. Like, I'm not even thinking about the New York Mets.
Wow. I don't. You're arrogant about it too. There,
Yeah,
Jones.
I'm with Connor. I just don't believe in the Mets. Like you just said, it's just the fact that they've been beat up across the board, whether it's been batting or pitching throughout the course of the season. And to be honest, I'm not going to put any faith in the Mets making anything serious.
And you just think that the Reds, it's too hard in the division, Connor? Was that your theory?
Yeah, the NL Central's tight.
It's a tight division when you go 9 games from when you have the 5 teams and 9 games separate them.
Like, don't make me regret this, Phillies. I'm telling you, I'm warning you right now because I'll be very upsetty spaghetti if this does not go the way that I want it to go. You're going to play the Mets, Marlins, and Nationals in the next week and a half. Watch what the Phillies do against the 3 bottom teams in this division and compare it to what you could possibly see the Reds do against the Cubs, Brewers, Pirates, teams that they've got to go up against. It's just not comparable.
So you're expecting it's going to be when the Phillies have coming up, the Phillies have before the All-Star break, the Phillies have 3 with the Marlins, 6 with the Mets, 4 with the Nationals.
Yeah.
And you're expecting that to be.
You're not just going to walk through it. That's not what I'm saying. But, you're going to consistently win those series. You're going to win ball games in those series. Like, if the Reds played the Pirates 6 times, they'd probably win 4 of them. I think the Phillies will win consistently against the bottom of the division, and that's the difference between them and those other teams.
Okay, so there you're at. That's where you're at. So, Steve, I hope you got and count the pills correctly. Count the pills correctly today. And we appreciate you listening every morning. It was very exact. I said that's very exact times that he says in the car that's when he listens.
You got to be exact. If you're a pharmacist, you got to have the numbers correct.
He's a young pharmacist too, 26 years old. Isn't that young
Yeah.
for a pharmacist?
Hey, listen, more power to you, brother.
He's got a big IQ.
That's his. Give me his. Wait a minute now. Wait a minute. Okay, I'm not casting aspersions. Do you have to have a big degree to be a pharmacist?
I'm just saying he's very smart.
I don't know what the actual process is. You got to know some stuff. There's got to be a
either.
test somewhere at some point.
He
listens to us, so he's a smart guy.
That's what I told him. I said, you must be really smart if you listen to us every morning and everything. And he said, there is no other option for him. No other option except the days that Katie is in the car. And Katie is his fiance. And Katie demands that Kincade Salciunas not be on and he lets her.
Come on, Katie.
Aw, man. Maddie leaves the radio on for us.
That's very
You
nice.
jump in
Maddie.
the car, 97.5 The Fanatic's playing.
Well, Maddie's a darling. Katie may be a red flag. I'm just saying. She may be a red flag.
But what are you seeing for the Phillies under Don Mattingly? It's just been an insane level of. He's won 10 of his first 13 series as the manager of this team.
I see-
28-10.
I just see a team. I see a team that was sleepwalking. And now I see a team that is relentless. I see a team that was sleepwalking through the season.
Yeah.
And now I see a team that appears relentless.
That's all it is. They woke him up. They fired the manager. They said, get your bleep together, and they did. Well, listen, we saw it in 22. And guess what? Don Mattingly this year has had a better start to his Phillies tenure as interim manager than Rob Thompson did in 2022 when he took over for Joe Girardi.
And we know what happened there.
I believe they went to the World Series.
I believe they did. I believe they went to Game 6, and for some reason, Zach Wheeler, with no other games to pitch that season, was taken out of Game 6. I'll never, you know what? I'll never forgive him for it.
Let's hope Donnie Baseball does not repeat the mistake.
No, you know what? I am of the belief that 100 times out of 100, Don Mattingly would not have made that decision. That he would never take out Zach Wheeler.
Let's hope we get to a point where we can have that debate.
Wouldn't it be great?
Yes.
I'm going to call you and have that debate.
Sounds
I'll be
fine
like
to
if
me.
he ever pulls that. So check in with that one. All right, so that is where we're sitting, and thanks, Steve, for that. But Phillies, it's great. And now they play. Now they play the Miz tomorrow night.
Yes.
You know, they're doing you may be too young for it, but they're doing the Nobody Beats the Miz. Do you even know what that is?
Nope.
It's the old, if you ever saw Seinfeld, but it's the old New York ads.
Okay.
The Wiz used to be like, sort of like an electronics store.
Gotcha.
And it used to be Nobody Beats the Wiz, Nobody Beats the Wiz. It was the Wiz. And you'd go and you'd get your Walkmans, your boom boxes,
Yeah.
your stereos and everything. And that was the thing. Well, it's Nobody Beats the Miz, and they actually play it in Milwaukee and everything like that.
Got to be awesome to watch if I'm a Phillies hitter.
And I don't care that they're up against it tomorrow night. That is must-see TV.
No, if I'm a Phillies hitter, I want him, and I want it bad because you got a guy in your locker room that should be the National League starter for the All-Star game, that if things continue should be the National League Cy Young, and here's your chance to go out. For everything Christopher Sanchez did, he went scoreless for a month, and you lost one of those games because the offense was so cold. Guess what you owe him? Go get that ERA up a little bit for Jake.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
That's a great one. That's a good way to do that.
I'm feeling that way if I'm in that clubhouse. So we'll see what they got.
Can you hit that fastball, though?
I can't.
My gosh.
I can't.
All right, the Eagles, though, found some reclamation projects. So the Eagles were shopping at Big Lots or, maybe on Facebook Marketplace, and they found a few reclamation projects that they're hoping are going to pay off, Connor. And I don't know. This is, I guess, are these training camp bodies, or are these guys that they actually think could come in here and play?
Yeah, A.J. Epinesa was signed yesterday by the Eagles. Now, earlier on in the offseason, he had a deal in place with another team, and the physical caused
the Browns.
If you're having an issue with the physical with the Cleveland Browns, well, we got questions
The
there.
Browns don't want you.
No.
That's what I said. Like, the Browns don't want you.
And he's a guy that was serviceable in Buffalo for a couple of years there, right? We're not talking Jonathan Grenard. We're not talking I saw some people bring up Zach Bond when I saw this move come down. Like, oh, well, that was a guy you got off the street that Vic Fangio turned into a Defensive Player of the Year nominee. I don't think we should use the anomalies as the example. I don't think he's going to be Zach Bond. There's a much better chance that he's going to be Azeez Ojulari or Josh Uche, where you just don't really get anything out of him. But if he can make the team and give you a little bit more depth there, the Eagles are not all that deep when you look at the front seven. Nakobe Dean out, questions at the edge rusher position. Like, you have need there to have serviceable players you can go to in case of injury, and that's what the Birds are trying to find. I wonder, and we'll ask DeCecco about this when he gets in here at 8, I wonder if this is just a warm body as we get into the mandatory minicamp and prepare for training camp later on in the offseason, or if they actually believe they can get something out of a veteran guy.
Because we're not going to hear from the Eagles again until training camp.
No.
So at the beginning of training camp, we'll hear from the coach, we'll hear from the general manager. That's when we're going to find out. I love the fact, though, I don't understand why more teams don't do it.
Just take flyers on guys that have, especially guys that have had somewhat success at the NFL level.
With this coaching staff?
Yeah.
Like, to me, this is absolutely something that you do. And people are like, wow, the Eagles, I saw people saying that, the victory yesterday. Wow, boy, this is great. This is a next level move by Howie. We don't know yet. I like the approach, but we don't know anything about it being a next level move yet.
You're just taking a blind swing.
I love it, though.
But we've seen some blind swings go really, really well for the Philadelphia Eagles. You think Patrick Robinson back in 2017, 2018. You think Zach Bond back in 2024. Like, every once in a while, You know what it is? You know, you always tell Andrew Salciunas, who normally sits in the seat, about the parlays, and that's how Vegas makes their money.
That's how they make the money.
Every once in a while, you do hit one. And maybe if you hit a big enough one, it covers up all the other swings you're taking on the bets that we're never going to cash in. That's all these moves are. And I don't think you're going to hit a home run with Epinesa, but I know that this is a guy that has proven at some point he can play at this level, and there's no harm bringing him in.
Now we go, as we say that too, is going to go out in August to Vegas, and they'll always do the little class. They do a little class for you can go to, and it's like for the gamblers to give them little pointers. Stay away from the parlays.
Yep.
The number one thing that they laugh at you when you hand in your money and you try to get your ticket, if you went to the old ticket days at the counter, was teasers.
I don't even consider
the profit margin on teasers for casinos is huge. They make huge money on that. They make huge money on parlays. Straight bets is where they lose the most money, where the house loses. But the biggest money that they lose on is straight bets on over-unders. So if you can master the over-under, if you're good at that, people don't like betting over-unders as much. They like betting points.
I don't like betting unders.
They don't like betting
overs.
Well, over-unders.
Overs are fun. I like points.
Over-unders, though, a straight one team, one bet over-under is where they lose the most money.
Yeah.
So if you can master that, if you just study over-unders, you can
So
make
that's how I get my lick back against the casinos.
See, this is how you're going to do it. Get that app downloaded and get after it. Let's check the poll results a little bit here from our friends Dr. Avidan Appel. How deserving do you believe Jalen Carter is of a huge contract extension? Dr. Avidan Appel says he believes he's probably worth it.
Yeah, so still leading the charge this time at 57% is cautiously optimistic. Second place at 38% is no-brainer, and very nervous in third at 5%.
Okay, it's a 19-point spread, though, on cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
Over no-brainer. And we all decidedly said no-brainer, pay it.
Oh, yeah.
That's not what our listeners are saying, though.
I'll say it again. I said it earlier. Philadelphia, you're overthinking this. If you're not in the no-brainer category, you are overthinking the Jalen Carter potential contract. This dude is an unbelievable talent. We're talking about, like, short of guys like Aaron Donald, because nobody's Aaron
Exactly.
Donald. Hopefully
he's not coming back either, yes.
But short of these, like, lock Hall of Fame guys, this dude, you can project him out to be a superstar interior defensive lineman at a position where you don't see guys get pressure on the quarterback very often. He can stop the run. He can do everything. He's an incredibly talented player, and this is one of those too close to the situations to properly evaluate it, I think, for Philadelphia fans. You think about the late to the meeting. You think about the spitting on Dak Prescott. Vic Fangio saying he's not in the best shape.
Well, that's a lot. Honestly, that's a lot for a guy who wants to be the highest paid defensive player in Eagles history.
I get you. But the bottom line is you're not going to find another Jalen Carter.
I would still pay him.
Yes, absolutely.
But I still would be like, it's like, it's a lot to risk. What do we got in the text line there, brought to you by our friends at Davis Honda? Feel the Davis difference at Davis Honda in Burlington.
Yeah, so this is Matt in Destin. He says, I agree that the talent of Jalen Carter is there, but he has to be more accountable. He won't grow as a player if he isn't held accountable for his professionalism as a superstar.
Wait a minute, is that Matt to Destin?
Destin, via Sicklerville, New Jersey.
He's in Destin, Florida. Have you two ever been?
I have, yes. Nice down there.
No.
What I would tell you is the beach, it's as if people took bags of sugar and just poured it on the beach there.
I got some white sand. I don't think I've seen that before.
Like the best. We used to stay at a place called Waterscape down there. If you're ever looking for a place to stay, Waterscape was awesome. Destin West was a nice little place we used to stay. Oh, my gosh. Just beautiful.
Now,
absolutely gorgeous.
The hold him to a professional standard, right? If you're going to pay him like a superstar. Guys, we need to trust some of the trustworthy people in this Eagles organization. Vic Fangio is holding these guys to a standard. I don't think Vic Fangio in Miami basically got run out of town because he was being too strong with those players to holding them to standards. Like, this is not going to be an issue where, you think Vic's letting Jalen Carter get away with stuff?
Oh, no. And the fact that he's called him out publicly tells you that.
Yeah, like, you don't have to worry about that stuff.
You don't have to worry about it, though?
No, not with Vic Fangio. That's why I'm saying, like, when he's not here, we might have a different conversation. But it's also why I trust the defense so much. He's not just skating by. And if you already think that he's not being held to a superstar standard, like that is what this team views him as. It's why we're even having this conversation about a monster contract extension, because the organization, I guarantee you, has considered it. They built out for it. Part of the reason you waited to move A.J. Brown post June 1st was so you could spread out the cap hit to pay guys like Jalen Carter. They're on it, all right? Now, whether he rises to that occasion is on him. But if your worry is they need to hold him to that standard, they're doing it.
My worry is he's not part of team activities during the summer.
Well,
that worries me.
yeah. And well, that brings
I don't
us
like
to when
that.
it gets
The hold in, and if you missed the beginning of the show, yesterday Bill Colorillo said, non-story, clickbait. And I'm telling you, with all due respect to our friends at Unfiltered, false. It is a story. There's going to be a hold in. He's not doing a thing till he gets that contract. It's going to be a standoff. We'll see what happens. Anthony Sanfilippo joins us next. He's going to discuss the Phillies' resurgence back into wild card position. And he'll give us a little information on that potential Flyers bad draft pick news out of Toronto. Kincade Salciunas continues here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Jalen Hurts is locked in. I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. Over the course of the offseason, there's been a lot of talk about Jalen Hurts and if he has doubters. Head coach Nick Sirianni spoke yesterday if Jalen Hurts relishes in a moment where he is being doubted.
The best thing that Jalen does as far as his mentality with all that is his consistency. To know that you're doubted or being questioned, you have to pay attention to what's going on the outside. And one thing I know Jalen does is stays locked into the moment and what things that he can control.
The Eagles will be off until late July. That's when training camp will begin. The Phillies win yet another series, this time against the Blue Jays as they hit 3 home runs. But Adolis Garcia left the game early due to a pulled muscle in his right arm. He will have imaging today. The Flames are off, and they're going to head to Milwaukee for a weekend series. Andrew Painter is going to be on the mound versus Jacob Mizorowski, with first pitch being at 7:40 p.m. Friday night. And the New York Knicks completed the biggest comeback in NBA Finals, where they were down 29 points to the San Antonio Spurs. And now they're up 3-1 in the NBA Finals, with Game 5 going to be back in San Antonio for an 8:30 tip-off right here at 97.5 The Fanatic. And Sam Flippo from On Patterson will join us next at 7:30, and Andrew DeCecco will join us at 8. This update is also brought to you. The Makeup Group supports contracts with one of the largest pre-FE inventories, from pipe, valve, and fittings to trusted brands. Count on the Makeup Group to help you stay scheduled. Visit makeupgroup.com. I'm Austin Jones, the home of the finals.
hour is brought to you by the BetParks online casino and sportsbook app. Live bet sports on the BetParks app. Play all your favorite casino games. There's always another way to win on the BetParks online casino and sportsbook. Got to be 21 in Pennsylvania, Jersey, or Maryland. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Hopefully your Thursday morning is going well. It's June 11th, and it's Kincade Salciunas. Connor's in for Andrew. Andrew will be back on Monday, and we have Austin Jones in Connor's seat. Hitting all the right buttons.
Yeah, we're moving all over the place this week with Andrew off. He'll be back with us.
That's what you do. That is what you do. Okay, I need to know something, though, from our guest. Is Ant San available? We're getting Ant San up. Anthony Sanfilippo, we're going to get him up here. I didn't realize this. He obviously from on Patterson. And but it says actor, director, too.
Oh, really? Well, a lot of folks who do like TV stuff will have their SAG card for the sake of something or other.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that either with him. He's a man of many talents. I mean, you could talk multiple teams with us and talk Flyers, Phillies. I mean, he covers everything. I'm not surprised. He's a very talented individual, which is why we're happy to have him when he joins us.
I am, but it says actor, director. I do not know that about his bio. I'm very cool with that. Is that I know that if I'm going to last August when I went out to Price is Right, I was supposed to go to Young and the Restless and be an extra. And as an extra, I didn't have to have a SAG card. But if I want to go out and have lines and have more than 3 lines, I think it is, I have to join SAG. You got to pay like $235.
Yeah.
But I'll do it.
I don't know. It's some racket that they do.
Yeah, but I'll do it to get an IMDb.
Your credit in there.
Anthony Sanfilippo. Do you have an IMDb? I know you're very talented from on Patterson. I bump into you in press boxes.
It's interesting. The only time I've actually ever been in a film was for a documentary for your competitive radio station.
Okay.
And I was on the screen for that. Most of my acting and directing has come in the world of theater.
Really?
Job.
I did not know that. Now, you have the great voice for it. But what kind of roles?
I've done the most recent role that I acted in was a play called, I'm sure you've seen the movie Network, which came out in the 1970s. Last year I was in a play I was in the play version of Network. And I got to play Robert Duvall's role, which was
incredible.
A lot of fun because it was like a little bit outside my personality because all he did was F-bomb everybody on stage for the entire time, which was great, which is a lot of fun. So
I hear you do that on Patterson.
A little bit, sometimes.
Yeah. Is that sometimes. That's good. Well, we appreciate you being here. I got to hear more about that. That is awesome. That is absolutely awesome. We really want to hear more about this Phillies run, though, that they're on. And it's really been a great turnaround. And the other day, we had the great Jim Salisbury on, and I was saying to him, look, there's been a huge turnaround since Rob Thompson left. And Jim is very insistent that, well, Rob was doing nothing wrong. He was doing nothing wrong. Well, obviously, it means that the manager's doing something right now. So what's changed? Seriously, what's changed? There's something that changed.
So there are subtle changes. Nothing that I think is indicative of switching from 9-19 to 25-11, right? But at the same time, it's maybe that the way that the message is being delivered, it's pretty much the same message. It's just being delivered slightly differently. And I think when it comes from a guy with the track record that Don Mattingly has, I think that is the difference, right? It's one thing, athletes are weird that way. They are willing to hear, if 2 different people tell them the same message, one of them did not play at their level, one of them did, they're more likely to listen to the one that did versus the one that didn't. It's like that in all sports. And that seems to be the difference here. Like I said, there are some subtle differences about, how they're all doing a lot more infield work. The PFPs are more frequent. As a matter of fact, they were scheduled to do PFPs the day Rob was fired that Rob had scheduled. So it's not like it wasn't something on Rob's list, but it's happening with more frequency. I think that the communication from player to manager is a little bit more direct as opposed to maybe Rob was a little bit more flowery about it. He tried to be such a good guy, such a team guy, that he would couch things a little bit differently, whereas I think Donnie's more direct with the players. So I think it's subtle things like that. And then they just finally oh, by the way, Zach Wheeler came back and they started to get great starting pitching, and lo and behold, that helped too. So
it helps
I think those were the big differences.
The offense waking up helps too. Now, I'll ask you, who is the real Phillies offense? We saw it in this series. They swing and miss at 29 out of 50 swings on Dylan Cease in Game 2. And then yesterday, 7 runs, a couple of home runs for guys. What do you make of this? How, did they fix something? I need you to break it down.
This is the Phillies offense, right? It's hot and cold. Sometimes they're really, really good, and sometimes they make you want to rip your hair out. I mean, that's really what the Phillies are offensively. I'm not certain that the way they're winning games is ultimately sustainable. And I say that because I look at it, and every game, or almost every game, is super close. And they're forced to go to the bullpen, and the same guys at the back end. You know, Duran pitched 3 straight days in this series against Toronto, and he got warm on Sunday against the White Sox. So in essence, that's 4 days in a row. The first time he blew a save. Not that it was a terrible outing. It was just, it happened in 8 pitches. But the reality is that it happened. And you're going to Keller and Alvarado and Kerkering, and it almost seems like it's every night. I worry that, you know, you're expecting Sanchez and Wheeler and Luzardo to give you 6-7 innings every game. I just worry that that's going to come back and bite them at some point. And so that's why I think this is great. This is a great run. They got themselves back in. They're in playoff contention. They're probably a playoff team now at this point, which is awesome. But at some point, you're worrying about something's going to break down, and you don't have the depth behind it to kind of pick that back up. Because I think you're relying on your 7 best players right now to do everything for you, and nobody else is really contributing on a consistent basis.
It's June 11th, and I want you to look into your crystal ball a little bit. Let's say that it is August 11th.
Yeah.
Give me a player or two that is going well right now that you think it could be a bit of a mirage, and give me a couple players that you think are doing poorly right now that you think on August 11th you're going to go, wow, they rebounded nicely, and boy, things have really turned around.
Well, I mean, so do I think Brandon Marsh is a mirage? I don't, because he's been really good since May of last year. So there is a larger sample to look at and say it's not just right now. I do wonder if he can hold up at this pace, because Brandon Marsh doesn't scream 330 hitter to you, right? Like, I mean, I do think that there is some regression that's coming there. He's still going to be a very good player, I think. I just don't think he's a 330 hitter for the rest of the year. So I look at that guy and say, that's the one where I think it might come back a little bit. As far as the guys that I think could be a little bit better than they've been, first I look at Luzardo, and it's weird to say that coming off of his win last night, but he's very inconsistent. I think there's more consistency there than has been. And so I think Luzardo is a guy who you might see come August be putting together consistent start after consistent start after consistent start. And I think that's a good thing. And beyond that, though, I'm having a hard time coming up with a second, right?
Okay.
Like, I don't know. Does Bryson Stott figure it out in the second half like he did last year? He's done it before, so maybe. But I can't say that I think it's there right now. You know, Bohm's been better, but is he that guy, or is he somewhere in between? I think he's kind of more somewhere in between. So I don't see it. And I'll tell you this, guys. I think, and it's weird that I'm going to say this, but I think that this injury to Adolis Garcia last night, depending on how severe it is, could hurt them more than you think. And it's weird to say that for a guy who's hitting at the Mendoza line, but they have no outfield depth at all. You got the Rojas news came out yesterday. He's done for the year. They have 0 outfield depth. And his defense was so good, I don't know how you're replacing it. I just don't. So I think that there's some major concerns still.
So you led me right to my next question. We're talking to Anthony Sanfilippo of On Pattison here on Kincade Salciunas. it seems like there are no internal options. Do you see the Phillies going out and signing somebody off the street? Will they elevate somebody? If there's an extended absence for Garcia, what would you expect the move to be?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's because they don't have any depth. I mean, they already went out and signed a guy off the scrap heap in Dylan Carlson, right? And he hasn't done anything in AAA, so like it's probably not that guy. You know, are you calling up Gabriel Rincones after what do you play? 11 games, 12 games? I mean, that's the one that makes the most sense to me, but he can't play against lefties. So he's only he's a one-sided platoon guy that you could probably give that a shot. I mean, can always go Felix Reyes again, right? I mean, these are your options right now. And as far as going out and getting someone, I mean, I don't know who's out there on the scrap heap that you can bring in and cross your fingers and hope that they help. Maybe by the deadline you're looking at that, but then we're at that point we're talking the same question that John just asked, because the deadline's August 3rd. It's a couple days later this year. You're probably not getting that deal done until the very end of July at the earliest. So you got to get through another 6 weeks without this. I don't know how it happens. I really don't.
All right, we've got to ask you quickly about the Flyers and that draft pick. What's the deal with this as far as, is this really bad news? Because it sounds like bad news on the draft pick thing with Toronto. That they potentially Boston's going to get that draft pick?
Well, possibly. I actually talked to some people in the Flyers organization on Tuesday about this, and then it was funny because they were lamenting that they hadn't heard anything from the league, and then all of a sudden the league announces yesterday that this is what the deal is. So from way I understand it is, if that pick is 10 or later, it's going to be the Flyers, right? It's the Flyers pick if it's 10 or later next year. If it's in the late 10s, Toronto is probably going to give it to the Flyers, or like 8, 9, 10. Toronto's probably going to give it to the Flyers because they don't want to give it to their division rival. If they had to choose between the two, it'd rather be somebody in another division. But if it's higher up, now all of a sudden it's a different question, right? Because now if you're like in the top 5, top 3, even top 2, like depending on the player, depending on how the teams look at that time, Toronto could basically screw the Flyers over and say, we're going to give it to Boston. Because maybe Boston's further away than the Flyers a year from now. Who knows, right? So at that point, Toronto can get strategic about it. I don't like it. I think it stinks. I think it smells. I think the league just they screwed up. Toronto screwed up. The league screwed up by allowing it to be this way. And they're basically just washing their hands of it saying, Maple Leafs, you figure it out.
I wonder if the Flyers
I don't like it at all.
I wonder if the Flyers could end up sweetening the pot. The Toronto could say, hey, throw in something and we'll give it to you. You
can. And see, that's the other thing. But, I mean, should that be allowed?
It's crooked. It's crooked.
It's crooked, right? I mean, it can happen. But I think it should not be allowed. The league should have stepped in a year ago when they traded the same pick twice, in essence, and said, Toronto, you need to come up with some more terminology here to fix this. And they never did. So the league's at fault.
All right, real quickly, your dream role, now that we know that you're an actor. The dream part you would love to play as an actor.
Well, so here's the thing, right? And this is the weird thing to say, because I love musical theater, but I cannot sing.
Well,
isn't that crazy?
That doesn't work.
I love it, but I can't say. So if I had to say, and I'll give one that's a little bit more mainstream, I would say Javert from Les Miserables.
Oh, there you go.
But I can't sing it.
But
I love the role. I love the part.
I don't think you're getting the role then.
Well, your next role might be Phillies right fielder if they don't figure something out quickly.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it, Anthony.
Guys.
Take it out on Patterson. Anthony Sanfilippo, he is awesome. He's very multidimensional, and he's an actor and a director, too. Hey, the stories we haven't had time to get to this morning are coming up. Headlines with Austin Jones as Kincade Salciunas continues on 97.5 The Fanatic.
process, it really comes down to how famous you are, your relationship with MSG, and how big that Knicks game is. So for a playoff game like tonight, where the Knicks are on one of their strongest runs in decades, those seats become even more competitive. Now, some celebrities like Spike Lee reportedly buy their own courtside tickets, while others are personally invited by MSG because they're considered part of the entertainment. But here's the part people don't realize. If MSG is giving you free courtside tickets, there are unwritten expectations that come with it. Show up camera ready, appear on the Jumbotron, maybe film some promo content and support events, but most importantly, act like you genuinely want to be there. If celebrities don't play along, the perks can disappear. For example, supermodels Emily Ratajkowski and Irina Shayk left their free courtside seats early during a Knicks comeback, and later, when Ratajkowski asked for free Rangers tickets, MSG reportedly turned her down.
And yes, that's what they do. I was texting with someone in the second-tier celebrity seats last night.
Yeah.
Our old neighbor, Kelly Giddish, who is one of the stars of Law & Order SVU, she was in the second-tier seats where Mariska Hargitay, who is a longtime Knicks fan, she's in the A-list section, and Kelly was next to Penn Badgley from You and Gossip Girl and everything.
I'm familiar.
And The Young and the Restless. He got his start on The Young and the Restless. So she was in the B-list celebrity section.
Yeah.
But I'll take it.
Listen.
I take it so much.
That's a small price to pay. Doing like promos and stuff like that, acting like you want to be there. The bar's on the floor. For real Knicks fans who are celebrities that can get in there, that are a level of like Spike Lee or Chalamet, like, yeah, that's a fair ask. Act like you want to be at the biggest sporting event in the world that night, and we'll give you tickets. It must be nice.
I saw another video as well. The Top of the Top, or one of the two celebrity girls, I forget which one. They also have access to the owner's suite as well.
Oh yeah, they can go get the free drinks, or the free drinks and everything like that are underneath and everything, so you can get all boozed up and everything that you want to.
Alrighty, next story, gentlemen. Still with basketball, Charles Barkley. We heard his comments about Miss Cardi B the other day. He was on the Dan Patrick Show. And he just he just said he doesn't care.
When's the last time management or somebody said, Chuck, can't say that?
Dan, I'm hoping they fire me. I got 6 or 7 years left on my contract that they know I got no chance of doing. I would love for them to fire me and have to pay me for the next 6 or 7 years. And there's zero chance I'm going to be working the next 6, 7 years. Zero. So I know if they fire me, they would have to pay me all those years. Come on, man. People can't take a joke. They can kiss my ass. I said the same thing. If people don't like me, I appreciate and love all the support I've gotten all these years. But anybody think everybody likes them, they're a fool. So if people don't like me or don't have a sense of humor, they can kiss my ass, and my whole ass, not just one cheek, the whole ass.
For all of you old heads that are upset about the way the NBA is currently going with the load management and the tanking, that's proof right there. That's Charles Barkley tanking live on the Dan Patrick Show. He's tanking the contract, saying fire me. Now, obviously being tongue-in-cheek there, but
no. He really would love to be sent to a golf course, believe me.
That's the best job in the world, get fired from a high-profile sports job. Like a coach that has 2 years left on their deal where you're saying, yeah, no thank you. Like, yeah, cool, pay me.
Yeah, and the thing about Charles, too, is can ESPN really afford to fire him? Because he's part of the reason why everybody tunes into the pregame coverage and everything else about the NBA.
They have the current numbers now. Richard Deitch, 4.23. As many people to 1 are watching the pregame coverage on ESPN, the stuff that is going on that used to be watching before the TNT crew came over.
Wow.
So they have like almost 4.25 people more to 1.
Yeah, that's the best pregame in sports.
It's unbelievable.
It is. And Charles Barkley, a friend of the station. You can hear him on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Yes, sir. Last one for us here, gentlemen. Connor, you played beer league softball and, pick up baseball, I guess. And John, I'm going to say you've been there and done that too. So up in Canada, there was a softball team that was on the skid. They were losing games left and right. So they reached out to reinforcements. They DM'd Josh Donaldson because they are a Canadian team. They are in Ontario. They are called the Brew Jays. They're winless, so they hit up Josh Donaldson. They said, hey, man, we need your help. Can you come on out? So he proceeded to pull up full uniform, and he batted in the lineup, crushes a home run. The team still lost 12-9, but it was a fun story that he just popped out and he played for the for the Brew Crew there. So I'm asking you, Connor and John, you're playing beer league softball or baseball. What former Philly would you like to be added to your roster for one game to help you get your first win of the season?
Give me Ryan Howard.
Ryan Howard
easily
be awesome.
Give me Ryan Howard.
He's so slimmed down now, though.
That dude can still hit the ball a mile.
Last time I saw Ryan Howard, I thought I said to him, I said, "You look like you're half yourself." I mean, he looks like half himself.
Yeah, guys get done. They don't have to keep the weight on, but he can still hit a baseball.
No, he looks
a mile.
fantastic.
It would be Schwarber if he wasn't currently playing for the team. I don't want to take him away from his responsibilities because they needed him last night. But, I'd probably go the big piece.
I think it'd be great. I would just love it to be Jimmy Rollins because I would just love to ever be on the same field one time with one of my favorite players I've ever watched in any sport, and that's Jimmy Rollins.
Give me Jim Tomey since you took the other big
That's
power
a good
bat.
pick, too.
There you go.
He always looked like a beer league player,
Man, he
too.
did.
Matt Stairs would be a good pick
I
as
would
well.
just watch Jimmy Rollins.
stuff there.
First of all, he'd hit home runs in beer league softball, but he would also hit gappers that, the guys could never catch. Be awesome. Great stuff. Good job there, Austin. Hey, we got a lot coming up. There's only halfway through, and that means that Andrew DeCecco will be joining the show coming up. He has loads of insights on what he observed at the Eagles mandatory minicamp. He'll download that notebook for you at 8:30, but we're going to get his comments on the Jalen Carter story, the Jalen Hurts extension, and more, all coming up. So hang out with us. Second half of Kincade Salciunas comes your way next here on The Fanatic. Got to tell you, hey, BetParks is the best. I love the folks at BetParks. They're absolutely awesome. And I can tell you that BetParks is where you want to be because the World Soccer action starts today at 3 o'clock with Mexico playing South Africa. And the BetParks app and Parks Casino have got you covered in person and online. The BetParks Summer Soccer Fest starts today, and the boys will be there from Middays with Marks to get it kicked off. It's soccer watch parties with drink specials and more in one of the greatest sports books you've ever watched games in. So get to the BetParks Sportsbook at Parks Casino today. You're going to win soccer jerseys, great swag, and more. John Marks, Sean Brace broadcasting live from 10 to 2. Hey, Ray Dunn's going to be there too. It's going to get things rolling. Catch every match, and I'm talking every match, live in the BetParks state-of-the-art sportsbook. I'm telling you, it's Vegas quality. Right there in Ben Salem. So watch all the action on the incredible 156-foot high-definition video wall. You're going to catch all the action. You're not going to miss any of the matches. Check out the World Soccer Hub on the BetParks app. You're going to get daily odds boosts, player and team props, and more. The BetParks Sportsbook at Parks Casino in Ben Salem. It starts today with Middays with Marks at 10 a.m. Details at betparks.com. Got to be 21 in Pennsylvania, Jersey, or Maryland. Should you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Jalen Hurts is locked in. I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. Over the course of the offseason, there's been a lot of talk about Jalen Hurts, and he's definitely growing some doubters. But head coach Nick Sirianni was asked, does Jalen Hurts relish in being doubted? And this is what the Eagles head coach had to say.
The best thing that Jalen does as far as his mentality with all that is his consistency. To know that you're doubted or being questioned, you have to pay attention to what's going on the outside. And one thing I know Jalen does is stays locked into the moment and what things that he can control.
Now, the Eagles are going to be silent until July. That's when training camp will begin for the Phillies. They're off today after taking the series against the Blue Jays. The team clubbed 3 home runs in the win, but Adolis Garcia did leave the game early due to a muscle pull in his right arm. The Titans will take on the Milwaukee Brewers as Andrew Painter will toe the mound Friday night at 7:40 against Milwaukee's Jacob Mizorowski. The New York Knicks completed the biggest comeback in NBA Finals history as they were down 29 points to the Spurs. And now they're up 3-1 in the NBA Finals with the series going back to San Antonio. You can listen to the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic as it will tip off Saturday night at 8:30. Anthony Sanfilippo from Allen Patterson just joined us. You can listen to that on YouTube. And then also Andrew DeCecco joins us from 8 to 10. I'm Austin Jones on your home for the NBA Finals, 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
We're halfway home on this edition of Kincade Salciunas. What number is this today? 581. 581.
That's a lot of them.
We're going to get to 600 and some before I get out of here.
Yes, we are.
So we get to 600 and some. Andrew DeCecco is with us in studio. He was out there, saying hello to the whole crew because Andrew's got to do those kind of things when he's here. He's a man of the people. He does that. Good morning.
Good morning. I like to think that I am.
You are. And we were chopping it up on the birds, doing a little preview of what we're going to be getting into on the show with you here.
Love to see in here is how did you enjoy? You've been away from practice. It'd been months. I'm thinking it's sort of like when somebody goes to rehab and they put them in a room and they're probably sweating and they're going through the shakes. You got to see a football practice again 2 days in a row. How did that feel to you?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things ever. Just being out there and being able to kind of see everything come together, the free agent additions, the draft picks, and the whole team coming together as a collective, and then kind of seeing. I never like to make too much off of OTAs, of course. Like, I don't base anything of what I see off of player performance. I look at alignment, how personnel is being utilized, and things like that, so that it paints a clearer picture for what you can expect in training camp when things really start to ramp up. But, man, it was great to be back out there. Perfect weather as well.
Do you have your notebook with you? Because it's in your head.
I remember everything that I saw, but the notebook stays with me.
Because I hope you've seen it. 8:30 today, you're downloading what you saw. You have to download thoughts for us and everything. We want to hear the highlights of what you saw.
Right.
So people are looking forward to that.
That's the other part of this. I get a new notebook. And I might need another one.
Is it like the first day of school?
Does it have like the fresh paper smell?
It's not the college ruled or anything like that.
Did you go wire bound or did you go the hardback? Did you like the ones that were more?
I did. I went with the wire bound one, but I will do the flip pad for training camp.
I did not like the wire bound notebooks.
Oh, okay.
I like the ones that had like the marble.
I did it. I have a
black
small
and white
one.
marble ones that were more of a
composition.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, I like them a little bit
the composition ones.
Well, Andrew DeCecco joins us, and I wanted to start with this, and it was yesterday because Nick Sirianni addressed the Jalen Carter situation, and it seemed like he wanted to give one answer, and then he stopped himself and he gave another answer. Let's listen in.
I don't have to get into. I'm sorry. I'm not going to get into all those different things. Right now, I've been able to work some individual scenarios, and individual practices, and that's where everybody's in a little bit different boat right now of where they are in the off season, and that's where Jalen is right now.
Jalen Carter from we talked about it this morning. In 6 weeks from today, I am stating with absolute conviction. We will be talking about a hold-in for Jalen Carter. He will not participate in team activities if he doesn't have a new contract. You looking at him and seeing what you saw, what did you think about that situation? It seemed like Nick wanted to say something and then stopped himself.
Well, when you don't see Jalen Carter participate in team drills on the first day of mandatory minicamp, my antenna raised naturally, and it's something you file away. This is someone who had injuries to both his shoulders last season, but then you also look at the contract side of things. So I think it's kind of two-sided here. But, yeah, I mean, I always was of the mind, my belief was that they picked up his fifth-year option, so they bought themselves some time. You might want to get ahead of things here. He's been a productive player when healthy. He clearly wasn't the same player last year, but there's reasons for that. But this is a dominant force who's going to be a piece for the future, so I would imagine the Eagles are going to want to take care of that. Now, as to the other part of what you were saying, John, I don't know. I don't know if he would be a hold-in. I'm not there yet. There's still some time here for both sides to work some things out.
There is. And something can change in 6 weeks.
A lot can change.
But if a contract is not agreed to, he's not participating. Is what I'm saying emphatically with zero capability. He's not going to be participating in team drills. Now, activities.
Individuals
and being in the classroom and things like that. He'll be a good citizen and a good soldier.
Okay, yeah.
But that's different. That's different. Does that concern you at all?
No, because I believe that it's inevitable that the two sides will will eventually work it out. It's just about coming to an agreement here. I mean, Chris Jones sets the pace. You have Dexter Lawrence as well. Jalen Carter, by all accounts, is going to clear both of those players. So it's going to reset the market, and that's not something that you take lightly. And I don't expect the Eagles to be hasty, or either side really to be hasty as they come to terms on an agreement.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Zach Bond situation after his first year in Philly, where he was on the one-year deal. You have to re-sign him as a free agent, and the whole fan base was like, they better re-sign Zach Bond. And I sat here, kicked my feet up, and I said, guarantee he's back, because rational, good organizations don't let players like that walk out of the building. And I think Jalen Carter fits into that mold, right? We talked earlier about the Micah Parsons situation in Dallas, how that contract negotiation went sour. He ends up in Green Bay. There's no way that Howie Roseman allows that to happen with a player like Jalen Carter, right?
Yeah, I can't imagine. He's part of the nucleus. When you look at this Eagles defense, and man, do they look like they're off to another fast start, as to be expected when players, a lot of them have been together for 3 years. He's going to be a centerpiece and someone that you're going to see grow with the likes of Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. Continue to. He's going to be. I can't imagine a world where he's not in Philadelphia for the long term.
I tried to search the players that have been publicly criticized. Such a dork. By Vic Fangio in his tenure here. And I found Jordan Davis quotes where he criticized him publicly. I found quotes with Huff, his first year before he ever hit the field. And I found Jalen Carter quotes. That's pretty much it. Like do you think that's just tough love? That Vic Fangio knows the caliber of player that he can call out publicly?
Depending on the player, right? I mean, Bryce Huff, he was a truth teller there. Vic Fangio is always a truth teller, but it was apparent early that the fit was a little questionable within his defense. But with someone like Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, yes, I think that's tough love. And for as dominant as Jalen Carter has been when fully healthy, there's the other things you have to be mindful of, like you can't get ejected in the first game of the season by spitting on someone and things like that. I think you have full appreciation for the intensity in which he plays the game. He flips a switch and turns into just a menace out there. But there's a line, and you just need to make sure that you don't cross that line. If he's able to kind of strike that balance, the sky's the limit for him.
Yeah, and we'll save your reaction to this when we get to our poll question, because it has to do with your reaction to a Jalen Carter potential huge contract, and what the people are saying on that is interesting. But I think Eagles fans are overthinking it a little bit if you're overlooking at this contract. He is an undeniably talented player, like future superstar player, if you don't already believe he's there. And no perfect player exists. Like, you want those issues to not be a thing. You want them to be on time for everything, not getting ejected from the game, some of the penalties that we've seen him take. Sure, but ultimately, isn't that heavily outweighed by the talent of the player?
Yes, and you're also banking on the Eagles support system that they have in place to kind of work some of those really just some of those incidents out of the player. He's a young guy, and not everybody's wired the same, but when you look at the leadership that they have in place, I imagine that's something that isn't going to be something that creeps up again. It's just about staying healthy and getting right and returning to form.
Another thing we talked about is that a domino fell that was not expected to fall that affects the Eagles in their re-signing of their quarterback to his contract extension, whether it comes this offseason, during the season, or at the end of next season. Pat Mahomes adds 2 years to a contract that ran through 2031, now extends to 2033, and he sets a new average year number at $64 million, which Dak Prescott's $60 million number, I always looked at, and you always talked about it, I look at that as a fake number since it's a gosh, why am I drawing a blank on that? A franchise tag number.
Sure.
I look at that as a fake number. I don't count that. On a contract number, 64 is huge.
Yeah, it is.
And now that's a number that I bet Howie Roseman wasn't expecting to be there before he negotiated Jalen's number. Do you think that's fair? Considering Mahomes was running through 2031 already.
Yeah.
And you have 3 years left, 26, 27, 28 of Hurts. I don't think he was expecting the Chiefs to go, yeah, Mahomes is through 31. We're going to add 2 more years to it now and up his average to $64 million a year.
Probably, but if it wasn't Patrick Mahomes, it would have been somebody else. The longer the Eagles continue to wait, you talk about Lamar Jackson.
That's
and some of those other
That's
players.
the one I'm worried about, and I don't know why I'm worried about it, but it's just I could see Baltimore saying, "Well, we can't let him go," and I could see Baltimore overpaying.
I could see them, throwing a bag at
I don't
Lamar
think
Jackson.
Jalen's taking a penny less than he's not going to take a penny less.
Nor should he.
And I would agree with you. And so to me, I think that hurts. That's why I want him to get his money first.
Yeah, I know you've been in that camp. For me, I've always been of the school of thought, especially when implementing this new offense. It's not about what Jalen Hurts has already done because he checks off every box you can imagine. It's about this offense, which is something that Howie Roseman, Jeffrey Lurie, organizationally, they want to implement this. They believe in it, and they've really had an affinity for it from afar. They need to make sure that they're able to check off all the boxes when it comes to running the offense through the vision of Sean Mannion, and who's more important than the quarterback. So I think they kind of just want to see how things go before ending up with the payday.
I just ask because the owner has made a commitment that he's always loved this kind of offense.
Yes.
He's always desired it. He has won 2 Super Bowls not running that kind of offense, and they have run through teams like a hot knife through butter in the NFC that do run that type of offense.
Right.
And I'm always fascinated by
it. To your point, the Eagles have had an awful lot of success with Sean McVay.
Right. I mean, that's
an awful lot of success.
He's their boy. He's their boy. They have Sean McVay on a leash.
They do.
They have Sean McVay on a leash. And by the way, they've had great success against eyebrows in Green Bay, and they've had very, very success otherwise. I mean, they're just I'm fascinated why they're like, these are the teams we consistently beat, but we want to be more like them. I don't get it. I don't understand.
Well, so like anything else, the NFL evolves, right? What the Eagles have done in the past doesn't necessarily mean that they can roll it back and expect the same results. I think we've seen the league sort of try to counter what the Eagles have done, which they've done to great success. They won a Super Bowl playing that style, but it's time to grow and evolve as any team needs to do, as any person needs to do in life, and that they need to make sure that that's going to be able to be in full effect. So that would be my rationale to your point.
Yeah, the other thing you got to think about, too, and I brought this up either earlier this week or last week, not important, but the sustainability of the style with which the Eagles play. We've seen them come off of 2 Super Bowl appearances and become first-round exits in years where you didn't have a lot of faith in them to win the playoff games that they were in.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that conversation, especially this past year, is the health of the big guys up front. Like, how tough is it on the bodies of the offensive line to run that dominant, we're going to beat you up style? It may work one season, and then the next season you are seeing the breakdown of those players' bodies because of how physically they play. They might feel that this is a more sustainable year-over-year way to run an offense where you can have the level of success, but maybe not as much as the attrition with injuries. That's always been my thought for it, is not just that it's a more, quote-unquote, exciting offense and modern offense, but that when you're going to have to out-physical teams, the next year's going to be a rough one.
Yeah, that's a great point, Connor. They've long adopted a grueling throwback style, but the margin for error is really small. And like any good team will do, they're going to spend a lot of time going back to the tape, going back to the drawing board, seeing what the Eagles have done to great success and figuring out a way to try and stop it. So it's imperative that the Eagles look to get ahead of things here and evolve and grow this offense with the talent that they have and really maximize the window here.
Now, do you think there's a point, because we talked about this earlier with the Jalen contract and the changing of the offense as part of that conversation, like John's thinking that at some point, hey, you're going to see the Lamar Jackson deal come down. Maybe like some of the younger guys, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, the dudes that are up for contract extensions.
Which just means that if one of those franchises gets stupid, then that also says, okay, Jalen's not signing for a penny less than them, and it just raises the money.
Yeah, do you think Howie's sitting at the table saying, if this deal happens, I cash out? Or is he completely, I don't want to say oblivious, but unaffected by what other teams are doing, and the only thing that's affecting this contract is how Jalen performs this year?
Just to be clear, I don't think Howie Roseman's oblivious to anything that goes on in the NFL.
That's why I didn't want to use that word.
I never thought of this part of the question.
I think the influence is entirely, can Jalen run this offense to the level they need him to do to be successful?
Yeah.
And I don't think any contract between now and when they see that is going to affect how they handle it.
Yeah, I see it the same way.
So there's no number you think that would make Howie go, I'm comfortable paying Jalen this, but wait a minute. No, I'm not comfortable paying him that.
No, I don't know that he would flinch, because what happens if you have to make alterations to the offense during the season and all of a sudden it's an offshoot of what Kellen Moore was doing and you're going back to the old style again. That the Eagles have made it clear with all of the hirings that they've made and just the vision that's been being put forth that they're fully committed to this new offense. And I think they, like Connor said, they want to make sure that they're able to kind of fully imagine it.
All right. Well, by the way, we have to change our post. Our post says Jalen Hurts not practicing.
Oh, okay.
Not Jalen Carter not practicing. We have to change that post.
Have to speak up with
that?
Rodman.
You have to change it. I think it was Mr. Rodmania. You just have to change that.
We'll get it all cleared up.
I'm getting people going, hey, it's not Jalen Hurts not practicing. It's Jalen Carter not practicing.
Jalen Hurts was there. Now, he did throw an interception. When do we start to panic about Tariq Woolen picking off Jalen Hurts?
Well, we're gonna get into that because I want to ask him about Woolen, and I'm sure we're gonna get into some of that. But
yeah, I have a lot of great things to say.
But the idea of the tracking of stats, I laugh. But I never thought of the question you brought up though.
Connor's a sharp dude. I've always said that.
Number though, but you always say you're bad with numbers. And I love numbers.
I don't know what the numbers are. I'm not doing the math.
Numbers. So you really do believe there's no number that would scare him off?
No, I don't think that. I think he's fully aware of all scenarios, and I don't know that he would flinch over, someone being paid.
Would you pay him same neighborhood, same subdivision as Patrick Mahomes? Not more than him, but same subdivision, same neighborhood.
Right now?
Yes.
No. Let me ask you this, John.
Okay.
Let me just ask your view on this.
Okay.
What happens if you get into the season and you're not seeing the full effect of the offense? You're seeing some of the stuff from last season and some of the new offense. How are you going to feel? Will you feel fulfilled? Like, will it leave you wanting more? Because if you feel that way, imagine how the Eagles would feel.
I think you know me. You know that I'm not going to. Dude, there's a chance I might not be fulfilled in the third quarter of game one, but But I'm serious. I try to be fair about it. I'm going to give this offense at least the first 6 games.
Of course,
6 games.
And that is,
I think, is a fair measure.
Yes, and that's the thing. They're not going to play in the preseason. The starters. Training camp always offers a glimpse of what they're going to do, so you're not going to have a clearer picture of what the offense is ultimately going to look like, that complexion, until you get into the regular season, which is really important to reiterate. And I've said this a lot now, especially during the spring practices.
Yeah, I just don't want to see Howie Roseman go all in, to use a poker example, like all in pre-flop. You got a chance to see some cards. Let's see some cards. That's what the 2026-27 season is going to be for Jalen Hurts. And while your hand that you have, you already know what those cards are in front of you, I'd like a little more information before I put everything out there.
I guess the problem I'm getting hung up on is the whole sort of hearing people say it's like a prove-it year. And it just drives me nuts. Because I'm like, there's so many guys who he's going to pay that I could say they've proven less to this organization than Jalen Hurts has.
Whatever money you commit is going to be an all-in bet on a franchise quarterback that's already making as much. At this point, hey, flip 3 for me, and let's see if we got a hand.
So you're good with numbers when you're talking about gambling.
Well, I like to win money.
See? What did Andrew DeCecco see as the Eagles got back to work at the Jeff? That notebook, it's in his brain, but he articulates it for us next. Kincade Salciunas continues on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. This update is brought to you by Philadelphia Soccer 2026. Join fans from around the world at the free 39-day FIFA Fan Festival at Lemon Hill. Enjoy your live match, broadcast, entertainment, and unforgettable energy all summer long. Now, Jalen Hurts has been facing some doubters this offseason, as there was an article that came out over the spring that stated that, well, perhaps not everybody is in favor of him. And with there being more doubters, head coach Nick Sirianni was asked, does Jalen Hurts relish in those moments?
The best thing that Jalen does as far as his mentality with all that is his consistency. To know that you're doubted or being questioned, you have to pay attention to what's going on the outside. And one thing I know Jalen does is stays locked into the moment and what things that he can control.
Now, the Eagles are going to be off until late July. That's when training camp will take off. For the Phillies, they won another series, and this time against the Blue Jays. But the team did lose Adolis Garcia as he left the game early with a muscle pull in his right arm. The team is off, and they're going to go to Milwaukee to face the Brewers. Andrew Painter is going to be on the mound versus Jacob Mizorowski, with first pitch being at 7:40. The New York Knicks completed the biggest comeback in NBA Finals to go up 3-1 on the San Antonio Spurs, and they will be back in action on Saturday night. You can listen here on The Fanatic. This update's also brought to you by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. For victims of drunk driving and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org. I'm Austin Jones, home of The Fanatic.
Great Thursday morning to you. It's always a great Thursday morning when we've got Andrew Pacheco in the house. Connor tried to distract him. I was trying to look for the notebook, just trying to see if I could go through it.
Yeah, no, he keeps that under lock and key.
I couldn't get anywhere
safe somewhere.
It's like, but the thing is the fact that he carries it around in his brain. It's sort of like the nuclear codes.
Yeah, the combination is the numbers of the last 3 undrafted Eagles. You're never going to be able to get it. He's the only one who knows.
Well, I got your undrafted free agents covered all the way back.
See, it changes every day, though. It's
2021
like he changes that sequence every day. So it's like it's the last 3 from the 1984 Eagles.
That's tested my memory a little bit.
Hey, it can work. Hey, Andrew has a notebook though, and we talk about it, we joke about it, but he does have a notebook. And he loves getting the stories. A mandatory minicamp now, it used to be so different because you used to have more time around the players during an off season. It's over now. 6 weeks from today, the Birds will open up their training camp. They haven't announced the official date, but I believe it's 6 weeks from today.
Yeah, it's going to be late July. And everything's later this year.
So I'm guessing 6 weeks from today. And your notebook, you got some stories. You had eyeballs this week. What were the biggest things that grabbed your attention?
Yeah, so as I always like to throw this, disclaimer out there, it is spring practices, so the Eagles are so early in the stages of laying the foundation for this offense, and that should be expected. But you should be intrigued. There's a lot of optimism surrounding the offense, and what I can tell you guys is that I've seen a lot of under center with all the quarterbacks. You're seeing a lot of pre-snap motion, tight splits, and things like that. When you watch the offensive linemen work out before practice, whether it's in individual drills or things like that, you can see some of the different intricacies that Chris Cooper, the newly minted offensive line coach, is implementing there. And it is a stark contrast from what we've grown accustomed to seeing under Jeff Stoutland. And whether it works or not, or it's effective, we're going to find out. But you're seeing a lot more of middle of the field throws and trying to really work and iron out some of those things. And just you want your quarterbacks to become more comfortable with what they're going to be asked to do when the pressure ramps up a little bit in the summer. So it does look new. It definitely looks new. And the running backs have been featured quite heavily in the receiving game. Saquon Barkley caught a flurry of passes. Will Shipley, Tank Bigsby as well. Maybe not as much, but they were still involved. So that's something that we haven't seen implemented in the offense, but I'm curious to see if that ultimately does manifest in the regular season, because in an offense, guys, that's so timing-based, that's paramount. The ball has to come out quickly. You want to build in those options to help your quarterback so they would be effective outlet receivers.
What's the dynamic here? It's intriguing. A little bit of a long question here, but stay with me. So you've got an offense that first-time OC, you're changing the whole system for a lot of guys who have been here for a while, though you do have veteran players. And on the other side, you got Vic Fangio, who's been doing this for 7,000 years. It has run one of the top defenses in football. Mm-hmm. And I can just remember back from, it's very comparable, the freshman high school days. If you were on the defensive side and you maybe jump a route you knew was coming because you know what the offense is running in these circumstances, the coach is pulling you over by the face mask saying, hey, what the hell are you doing? So all of that to get to is the defensive side of the ball. Do you see them maybe pulling punches to allow the offense to work on stuff? Is Vic Fangio going all out saying, hey, you guys got to learn against one of the better units in football? What's the dynamic there?
That's a great question. They're just lining up and playing. I haven't noticed anything different, but you can see a cohesive, poised bunch on the defensive side. Many of these players are entering their third season with Vic Fangio. They're entering their third season of playing together, so that should be expected. If the defense is behind and the offense is ahead, that's not something that anyone should expect. This is a new-look offense, so there's a pretty drastic departure from what they've done in the past. So this is the early stages, the installation. You're learning verbiage, and the coaches are learning the personnel, and the personnel is learning the coaches. They're trying to figure out how to best optimize the skill set of those players. So as I was mentioning to you guys, that's why I don't necessarily focus too much on the player performance aspect as much as I do alignment, how the offense looks. Does a player look like they've added some size, which, by the way, someone like a Tank Bigsby looks like he has. Cooper DeJean, Nolan Smith, they look like they spent a lot of time in the weight room. Tank Bigsby looks like he's added some more juice. Looks a little bit more explosive. And then you're seeing the different mixing and matching of personnel, which you never want to read too much into, but it is, something that you want to file away for the summer.
The team energy, I know you were a big guy. You know, you were who. You know, you saw what A.J. Brown brought to this team, positives, negatives, all together. You valued it. What did you feel about the energy and the cohesiveness of the team post A.J. Brown?
Yeah, I mean, if you listen to what Jordan Mailata had to say, there was sort of just a relief. You know, you don't have that looming question.
He called it a debacle.
You don't have
A.J.
that
debacle.
Well, you just don't. It's the human aspect of things. You don't have that looming question, is he in or is he out? And you're kind of able to just move forward as a team and really focus on what's important, which is establishing continuity with this offense, getting that base, and really trying to grow and evolve things here. And that's really what it's all going to be about. So to answer your question, John, I have seen just a lot of eagerness and optimism surrounding the 2026 Eagles. And that's really what everything is about here. I know that there's a lot of questions about the offense. That takes the forefront, but you got to be really, really intrigued with what the defense could provide this season.
Yeah, tell us why, because people are so zoned in on the offense. Like, what have you seen from that unit? Maybe an individual player, and we know it's early, but that people should be intrigued by the big storylines on that side of the ball that aren't the Jalen Carter contract, because we've already talked about that.
Sure. So anytime you add someone like a Jonathan Grenard to your defense, which I think is going to be a really good pairing. Now, he didn't participate in the team portion of drills. He did individuals, but that was a team decision. That's going to help Jalix Hunt, Nolan Smith. Jonathan Grenard is just a year removed in 2023 and 2024 combined. I believe he had 24 and a half sacks. This is a really effective player, and Jalix Hunt, I think, is primed for a breakout season. You look at Cooper DeJean playing safety and base defense. His ability to play three different positions and just sort of unlock a new element to the defense there. But the standout on the defensive side has been Reek Woolen all summer, the Eagles free agent edition. And look, we'll find out more when the pads come on and things like that. But you don't often see 6'4" corners who can flip their hips and run with the gamut of receivers, whether it's a Hollywood Brown, who's 5'10" and a speedster, or a Dontavian Wicks, who's 6'1", 206 pounds. He looks the part. He has great length, and it's just a really tough player to get around. And I think back to a play that he had when he was running stride for stride down the right sideline with Hollywood Brown last week, and the throw was solid. It was there, but there was no room for Hollywood Brown to really run underneath it, and that was because of what you have there with Reek Woolen. So he's a big-time player and a big-time addition. We'll see how he ultimately fits in, but it was good to see.
Woolen's game, when you talk about his size, does he use his size more strategically, like for positioning purposes, or is he more someone who will be defined by physical corner? Will people say he's a physical corner?
I think you'll see that
because when I hear that
when
size,
the pads come on, you're able to get physical. You're able to have that hand-to-hand combat. But right now, what I've seen is his ability to use his frame for positioning, for advantage, and sort of wall off receivers. And I think the other element to this is that if he's able to really cement his status as that second corner and he take to the technique and the discipline and all the things, the fundamentals that Vic Fangio values, having him there allows so much more flexibility and optionality for what Vic Fangio can do, as opposed to last season when they were toggling between Adoree Jackson and Kelee Ringo, and you had to atone for that. Now, all of a sudden, you're able to kind of deploy your personnel a little bit more creatively.
Are there any spots where you look at? And again, we're going to preface all of this with it's early, it's mandatory mini camp, you're not going full go at all yet. Are there any points where you look at it and you're like, I got to keep an eye on that because that's a little worrisome for the Eagles? If it's a position, if it's a part of the scheme on offense, where's your mind go when I ask you that?
For offense, it's always going to be rhythm, establishing rhythm. Are the quarterbacks getting the ball out quickly? And are they progressing throughout the summer? That's really what I'm looking for. Are they taking steps forward as the weeks progress? And then in terms of just like personnel, I'm really intrigued with the depth along the offensive line. There's a lot of young players. Drew Kendall, in my estimation, is primed to fill the shoes of Brett Toth and being that jack-of-all-trades interior lineman on game day who majors at the center position. Then you have other players, not named Fred Johnson, who are really inexperienced, and Miles Hinton, who's worked a lot at guard in his second season this spring. You have Cameron Williams, and then you have Willie Lampkin and other players like that. But there's so much youth there. So that's something I'm looking to see who emerges, and because that's something that the Eagles have had to tap into in recent years.
Chris Cooper?
Very intense.
Okay, so can you compare and contrast at all styles of coaching during practice sessions or individual sessions with what you saw with Jeff Stoutland over the years?
Chris Cooper is intense. He's bouncing around. He has he's very, very engaged. That's not to say that Jeff Stoutland wasn't, but there's a lot more tempo to the way that he sort of conducts the individuals, and very instructive. You can see that they're really paying attention to his directives, and a lot of that, especially for someone like Lane Johnson, who's been around for a while. How do you get that buy-in? Well, he's played the game before. Chris Cooper was a guard for the Denver Broncos, and he also said that he spoke to players for the Minnesota Vikings, namely Brian O'Neill, to get more insight. And Brian O'Neill said that was the best offensive line coach that he's had in his career. So when you have that playing experience, you're able to relate to a player in a different way. Yeah, it's not going to be quite like Jeff Stoutland, where you're so accustomed to a certain style and a long-standing sample size of production, but he's coming at it from a different perspective, and that's where the buy-in comes in.
It sounds like it. Yeah, I like hearing that. When Mark Schlereth joined us and talked about him, he spoke glowingly of him, but he said you got to have. He said balls that day, because you got to have balls to take the job.
Yeah, and
to replace Jeff Stoutland.
He's not going to flinch.
It's a high bar.
I'm really, really intrigued to see what he's able to do with this group.
So far, so good, it sounds like.
That sounds good. Yeah, good first. Good club. Good club. Hey, we'll get your feedback via the text line on some of the things we've been talking about this morning. And if you have questions for Andrew DeCecco, we'd love to hear from them, too. Plus, Connor has a new Eagle that he's fallen in love with. Wow. See? The romance thing can go both ways, Connor. Kincade Salciunas continues on 97.5 The Fanatic.
And I got to tell you about the world's biggest soccer tournament. It's here. It's arrived. And you can trade the entire tournament right on Kalshi. On Kalshi, you can trade every single match from the opening stage all the way to the final. Let me show you how easy it is. I'm legitimately unlocking my phone right now. Open the Kalshi app, and right here, the first match of the tournament, Mexico taking on South Africa today at 3 p.m. Already on the app, already can tell you Mexico's trading at a 70% probability to win. Just type in $100 right here, and that shows me Mexico wins. That's 139 big ones that I get right back there on Kalshi. It's that easy. I did that in 30 seconds, maybe even less. And you can trade on everything on Kalshi. There's a whole lot of other opportunities you can trade on who's going to win the entire tournament. UFC Freedom 250 live from the White House South Lawn. That's a cool event coming your way this weekend. You can trade on a lot with Kalshi, including the big tournaments starting today. And the best part about trading on Kalshi, well, you're trading against peers on a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. So as easy as it was for me to type that in right there, I can then trade right out just as easily if I want to take some winnings. So for a limited time, download the Kalshi app and make sure you use code FANATIC to get $10 when you trade 10. It's Kalshi, Kalshi. Trade the beautiful game. 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see Kalshi.com/regulatory.
So many new additions, so little time. The Eagles found some new faces. Connor was talking about him a little bit earlier. Andrew DiCecco, the Eagles found some players. Now, I always say Christy here, one of our listeners, says, John, I love the energy that you've got for the Eagles coverage, and I love your positivity, but I don't like it when you say the Eagles found guys at Big Lots. It sounds like you're being very dismissive of their talents, and you're nicer than that.
I agree.
Really?
Yes.
You think it sounds – look, okay, because I don't mean to be – I'm not trying to be mean to the people, but I'm like, it's like these guys were on the street. I could have said, like, they found him at Goodwill. I mean, would that have been worse?
Hey, there's some good stuff at Goodwill.
Oh, no, I like Goodwill. No. I like Goodwill. So I'm like, so I don't mean it as a thing. And I'd go to Big Lots, too. I'd go to Big Lots. If I have time to kill, I'll go to Big Lots.
I think the scouting department deserves a lot of credit for being able to unearth a lot of these prospects. And I agree with whoever, what was her name? With Christy.
Christy says, she goes, I love your enthusiasm. She likes my positivity for the Eagles. But she goes, it sounds that it's being like mean to the people. When I say to you, the Eagles found these guys at Big Lots.
Yeah, with the latter part of what she had to say, I agree with.
Well, it's like, with some of the prospects, you find it at Nordstrom. You're paying Nordstrom prices. It's more of the price you have to pay is the thing that I'm saying. It's the price.
I'm not even going to try to get inside.
It's the price.
That head of
it's
yours,
the price you have to pay. What did you think of the Eagles' newest additions? That they've, a few off. Now, people will say the scrap heap. Is that also?
Break down.
People use that all the time.
Just say break down the draft picks.
Break
No,
down
not the draft picks.
Michael Jordan for us.
No, the Eagles signed a defensive end yesterday.
Yes,
is he just a camp body?
Well, right now it's hard to say that it's anything more than adding a player who has played in 91 games, started 19 games, and was a second-round pick of the Buffalo Bills. It's an intriguing name, but right now all it is a name who provides competent depth that you can kind of look to see. He has a different play style than some of the other players. He's more of a traditional 4-3 defensive end. He's a power end at 6'6", 260 pounds, 24 career sacks. He's not really a sack specialist. He's more of a power rusher who's going to be able to play the run and fill some gaps there. But those are the type of players that the Eagles are naturally going to take a swing on, and I think that there's some upside there. And then with the guard, Michael Jordan, that's a player that the Eagles brought in for rookie minicamp on a tryout basis. He's a seventh-year pro, started a bunch of games, was a fourth-round pick out of Ohio State, the Cincinnati Bengals. They need depth. I talked about the offensive line. Aside from really Fred Johnson, they're really green when it comes to experience on the offensive line, and he's going to add some more competition to that. They drafted Micah Morris in the 6th round out of Georgia, but aside from that, they don't necessarily have a true backup guard.
Yeah, it'll be fun when we do Eagles pregame this year, and I'm sitting here and Ray Dunn's next to me. If he's making the team and he's one of maybe the inactive players on some weeks just to hear whatever Michael Jordan joke Ray Dunn's going to come up with, that he pays his weight in gold just in that alone.
Hopefully he doesnn't get suspended. I mean, retire in the middle of his career. That'd be a good one. Hey, who's your Eagles crush?
All right, I've fallen in love
because I want Andrew DiCecco to make fun of you the way you do with me with Don Mattingly.
I think that I'm going to have to share this person with Andrew DiCecco because I think he feels the same way about this player as I do. So there was a couple of clips circulating yesterday on social media. One of the most intriguing names that the Philadelphia Eagles have in the organization right now is Uar Bernard, who, of course, never played football before. They drafted him through the International Pathway Program, and he's getting his first taste of what life in the NFL is like. I thought it was really cool, some of the stuff that he had to say, and when I heard this clip, I was like, I already love this player.
I hardly go out and just focus on my playbook and my teammate. So coming into the building is fun for me, and I love it here, so I want to grow every day, so I keep my focus in the building, keeping the main thing.
Keeping the main thing, the main thing.
I love it from him. Like he already knows the sayings and everything. And if you listen to some of the longer clips, and Andrew, I know you got a chance to talk to him as well, where it wasn't recorded, so I'm interested in your takeaways on it. He sounds like a dude that, and why wouldn't he dive in on this opportunity? But don't take that for granted. When you ask a guy, hey, what are you doing around this city that you've never been in before? some people would be out trying a cheesesteak, seeing what the bar scene is. He's just like, I'm zoned in on trying to make as much of this as I can. What is the work ethic that you've seen so far from him, and what did you learn when you got a chance to talk to him?
Yeah, the work ethic is extremely high, and that's something that it should be understood that Clint Hurt, who advocated for him, if you had a chance to watch the Eagles draft video, he's not going to do that if it weren't for his work ethic. There was a workout that he went to Florida to work him out, and that's something that has been a common theme when it comes to UR, and you don't get to this position without having extremely high work ethic and attention to detail. Actually, I interviewed his trainer, Javon Gopi, and he outlined to me just the whole process of how he of how he started working with them. And he went to a pre-combine in October in London, and he jumped a 38-inch vertical where they couldn't find shoes to house his feet, and he kind of had to do it in socks. So this is just an immensely athletic human being that can do things that aren't all that common. And you couple that with someone like Clint Hurt, who, in my estimation, is the best defensive line coach in the NFL, or certainly among them. I think that he's going to bet on himself every time.
I just love the attitude. And the other thing that we talked about that we should bring to the listeners, this is when I was distracting Andrew before he came in and put the headphones on. You brought up a great point about, like, making the team or not, because my worry is, hey, I'm going to fall in love with this guy. He's a long shot to do all that much at the NFL level because the guy's never played before. Like, you're taking a swing on a guy that could have a ceiling in this league at some point. You brought up a great point on trying to get him through waivers and why that might be tough if he doesn't just make the team.
Yeah, a lot of times, whether it's the Philadelphia Eagles or the Jacksonville Jaguars or the Indianapolis Colts, there's always a player who shines in training camp, and it always seems like every year, well, they can't waive this guy. They're going to get claimed. Well, in reality, such a small fraction of the players who are released in one final cutdown are actually claimed, because if you claim a player, you're going to hope to try and get them into your system in short order, and that's just not the case. You're more inclined to keep a player who has been with you through OTAs and training camp. And so when you look at Uar Bernard, he's a special case because 21 years old, 6'4", 306 pounds, 6% body fat, all those tremendous athletic qualities that he brings to the table. All it takes is one team to try to look at the Eagles' blueprint and say, we're going to bring him in, and we're going to try to establish and develop him, and understand that it's going to take some time, and you have to exercise patience and have a long-term vision here. The Eagles were fully aware of all of this when they drafted him, and they're supporting it, they're rallying around him, and they have the support system to really help him flourish. So it's going to take some time, but because of that, I think that he kind of, like Jordan Mailata did as a rookie, makes the team, stays on the back end of the roster with the understanding that it's going to be a learning season.
All right, Connor, I'm going to give you time to shower during the break after that, because I can see you're getting a little hyperventilated.
I love the guy.
Good. It's good. It's exciting. It's exciting, and that's a pretty good review there of what Andrew's talking about. He's got another hour of sharing that type of information with us. But coming up, last year's the defending Super Bowl champs, the Eagles, had 8 of the top 69 players on the NFL's top 100 players list, voted by NFL players. How's it going to look this time around? I want to review last year's rankings with all the guys, and I want them to tell me how high or how low those same players will be on this year's rankings. Plus, will any Eagles crack the list that didn't last year? And more importantly, will any Eagle fall off the list? A little truth or dare coming up. Kincade Salciunas, 1 hour to go here on The Fanatic.
Now on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Jalen Hurts is locked in. I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. Over the course of the offseason, there's been a lot of chatter about Jalen Hurts and the doubters that has surfaced around him since the Super Bowl MVP wasn't able to go back-to-back this past season. Well, head coach Nick Sirianni was asked about if Hurts relishes being in a spot where people doubt him.
The best thing that Jalen does as far as his mentality with all that is his consistency. To know that you're doubted or being questioned, you have to pay attention to what's going on done on the outside. And one thing I know Jalen does is stays locked into the moment and what things that he can control.
Now, the Eagles are going to be silent until late July. That's when training camp will kick off. For the Phillies, they win yet another series, this time against the Blue Jays, but the team did lose Adolis Garcia, who left the game early due to a pulled muscle in his right arm. He will have imaging today. The Fightins are going to be off, but they're traveling to Milwaukee. Andrew Painter will be on the mound tomorrow night against Jacob Mizorowski, with first pitch being at 7:40. The New York Knicks, my lord, they completed the biggest comeback in NBA Finals history, down 29 points, and now they're up 3-1 on the San Antonio Spurs, with the series going back to Texas. You can listen to the live call of the game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic Saturday night, with tip-off being at 8:30. Anthony Sanfilippo joined us from On Patterson earlier. You can listen to that on YouTube, and Andrew DiCecco stays with us. I'm Austin Jones on the home of the NBA Finals, 97.5 The Fanatic, and the Fanatic app.
Carter is, in fact, if things do not change in the next 6 weeks before training camp begins, I'm going to tell you now with certainty that he is going to stage a hold-in. You know what a hold-in is?
Yes,
Connor?
he'll be there, but he won't be participating.
Yes. Now, he'll be there. He'll be in the meetings.
Right.
He'll probably work out to stay healthy and do those things. But Jalen Carter will be in a hold-in at the request of his agent if he does not have a new contract by the time training camp begins in 6 weeks. On June 10th, the two sides were not close to a contract extension, and the two sides were not progressing smoothly towards a contract extension. It wasn't something that you just go, this is going to get done. It's great. Do I think a deal will get done eventually? Sure. Do I think there's a lot of bumpy terrain between now and the deal getting done, Connor? I do. Unless a lot changes in the next 6 weeks, I'm going to tell you we will be talking about a Jalen Carter hold-in.
I'm not overly worried. If he's holding in, it's good optically. It's good for him preparing for the season. It's not the worst-case scenario. And remember, last year, early on in the season, we heard Vic Fangio make comments. We heard reporters bring up that it was being said around the facility, Jalen Carter not in as good a football shape as he needed to be. And that could be a concern if he's not doing the team drills.
We already know the teams have called about Jalen Carter, and there were were things that were entertained. At least teams called about him. I do not know if Howie initiated anything, but he's been involved in teams kicking tires on him, which you would understand. I've been told it's not contentious, but it's absolutely far from resolved. And it is a story worth talking about.
Now back to the show.
I have one text that I received after the Bill Colarulo's responded. I'm sure he'll respond today too. And he goes, "It's 6 weeks. There's no reason to be causing panic and everything like this." And I said, "Bill, no one. If you listen to it, at no time did I say to panic. At no time did I say that this was not going to get resolved. In fact, I do think this will get resolved. I do think it's an issue if this is a hold-in situation." And I am told that I did receive a text message telling me, "You will not be wrong if training camp begins and this contract is not signed. You will not be wrong that he will not participate in team activities." And I don't blame him.
No, that was something that I thought about earlier.
I don't blame Jalen Carter if he does not want to go out there and risk injury. Even though he's under contract, NFL standards would tell you that in normal cases, as long as he's there doing the classroom stuff, doing the other stuff.
Individuals,
If he held out and was getting fined, that's different.
Yeah.
Rosenhaus will probably have him here.
Yes.
Have him here,
so, yeah.
be a good citizen, do those kind of things. But it doesn't bother you, though, at all if it took 8 days of training camp, 10 days of training camp to get this deal done. And I've been told not to believe the contract will be done when training camp opens. That's how far apart the camps are right now, supposedly.
Yeah, I don't think there would be cause for concern as long as Jalen is able to stay in shape and do things like that.
And supposedly there is no acrimony. There's no I hate you, you hate, there's no acrimony. So this is not. So nobody's telling anybody to panic, Bill Colarulo. No one's telling it. But I don't want to see him miss time on the field because I think this defense can be special.
I would agree with you.
Well, everything you say makes me think it can be more special.
Yeah, and there's one player, and I think I mentioned it with you guys already, that I think is primed for a big-time leap in year 3, who continues to get better every year, and that's Jalen Hunt. Jalen Hunt led the Eagles in interceptions last season. He led them in quarterback hits. He led the edge rushers in sacks. He led the edge rushers in snaps with 672 or something like that. But I think he's going to continue to trend in the right direction. Should push for double digits this year.
Yeah, I'm excited about what he can do. And I don't think this Jalen Carter situation, I don't think there's any way the Eagles let this leak over into the regular season.
There's no way I think that it will go to regular season.
No, it's too big of a year, and he's too much of an important player, and he's worth that money to me. He is. You just have to iron out the details, and if his way of negotiating is, hey, I'm not going to do the team activities during mandatory minicamp, that's his card to play. I don't think that hurts the Eagles.
But what about training camp?
That's a different story. But as we've been talking about, that's a ways away. So we'll see where we get to.
6 weeks to work it out, but as of right now, I'm telling you, I expect that 6 weeks from today, we will be talking about a hold-in with Jalen Carter.
Yeah, then that's a much bigger story.
And again, no acrimony from what I understand. No acrimony between the sides. So there's not like a venom he'll be there. He'll be a participant in classrooms. He'll be a participant but as far as team activities, no.
Yeah, but it's not Trey Hendrickson where he gets in a beef with the Cincinnati Bengals and he shows up in Florida the next day and everyone's like, whoa, dude, we're trying to get ready for the season. Right. You're across the country right now. If he's there and he's in shape, we'll work it out. Well,
there's the big one. Is he going to be – I have multiple quotes from his defensive coordinator who questioned him about his conditioning. Do you think his conditioning is going to – is there reason for concern – that his conditioning will be up to snuff if he's not doing team activities in training camp? When before, his own boss has questioned his conditioning.
Yeah, I think that's a fair.
I think that's fair.
I think that's fair. But, I believe Jalen Carter posted a video at some point this offseason where he's working. Yeah, he looked lean and he looked mean. So he knows he knows that a sizable payday awaits, and I imagine that he's going to really, and he continue to attack this process. But based off of all we have to go off of, John, is previous history. And when Vic Fangio kind of puts it out there like the way that he did, he wants you to.
It's like rattling the cage, though.
Yeah,
it's not meant with. It's not a venom.
No,
it wasn't venomous.
But he put it out there because he wanted them to give him a little nudge.
There you go.
And you got to make sure that you're checking off all your boxes.
I'm glad Vic's doing it because I don't want to nudge him.
Yeah, I don't want to nudge him. No, I'm not doing it either.
I want no business with that man.
Well, here's what I'd like you to do. You guys all play along with this process here. And last year, the NFL Network and X come out with their special. And this year, the videos will be exclusively on X. I guess X is the one that's releasing the videos.
Cool.
So they released the top 100 players list 10 at a time, from 100 to 91 to 90 to 81. You get the idea. And the players have already voted on the top 100 players of the NFL. If you remember well, just for you, last year, Saquon Barkley, by his peers, was voted the number 1 player in the NFL. Jalen Hurts was voted the 19th player in the NFL. Lane Johnson was voted the 23rd best player in the NFL. Zach Bond was 26th. A.J. Brown's gone to New England. We won't talk about him, but he was 29th. Jalen Carter was 43rd. Quinyon Mitchell was 49th. Cooper DeJean was 60th. Jordan Mailata was 69th. Nice. Okay. Of those 8 players on the list, and we're not going to talk about A.J. Brown because New England radio can talk about him, 7 of them are returning. So I'm going to ask you guys one by one. We're going to go one by one here. Which of them your votes have to be? Will they be potentially higher on the list, lower on the list, or off the list completely? Now, obviously, Saquon Barkley does not have an option to be any higher than the best player in the NFL. So, does Saquon appear on the list of the top 100 players? The recency bias. And how far does he fall? Because you're number 1, you're going to fall.
Yeah.
But how far does he fall?
I certainly believe that he will be on this list. And this offense, much has been made about the passing. I think it's all about the run game. And Saquon's prime for a big season. So, I think we'll be fairly high, 15, we'll say.
Yeah, I was thinking something in the high 20s, low 30s, just because of the production from last season.
Yeah, I would say like 15 or 18.
Okay, so DeSheko goes like the 15 to 18 range. Connor, I'll give you a little range, too.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to look back at this. You know I like to do this.
28 to 35.
No. He went 15 to 18. Make it small.
I went lower, so it's a bigger range.
No, you got to tighten. No, you got to tighten it up.
28 to 34.
No, you got to tighten it up. 15 to 18. He gave you 4 numbers. I'll give you 4 numbers.
29 to 33.
I'll give you 32. That would
Okay.
be 4 numbers. You really are bad with numbers. All right, Connor gets 29 to 32.
The edge numbers.
All right. Jalen Hurts was 19th last year. Is he higher, lower, or off the list completely?
He's not off the list completely. He's on it. Last season wasn't even a good passing season, really. Like, the offense didn't function as one of the better offenses in the league.
You get a 4-number range, just like you did in the last one.
I'll say 22 to 25.
So you don't have him dropping far.
No, well, I think he's going to be effective, but the driving force of this offense, at least in my view, is going to be Saquon.
Now, remember, though, the players are voting. The votes are already in. So the players in the NFL have already voted on where they see Jalen Hurts.
Oh, okay.
No, this is already voted. This is where they've already voted. So did you know the criteria? They've already voted on it. They're ranking the players in the NFL right now.
Based on last season.
So they're peers.
Right.
No,
okay.
well, as of today. They're saying as of today, but there's the recency bias. That's how Saquon was number 1 going into last year.
Yeah, I don't think Jalen's going to drop very far. I'll say 22 to 25.
Okay.
I would say 44 to 48. I think he's going to drop significantly.
I think he's going to drop into the 50s. I think he's going to drop into the 50s. I think Saquon's going to drop into the 30. I think Saquon's dropping further than you have him.
Jalen Hurts was coming off a Super Bowl MVP when he was 19th. This was a team first-round exit where they've A.J. Brown left the organization and they've changed the offensive style. And part of that, now you could take whatever percentage, but part of that was questions about Jalen Hurts' ability to throw at the highest level.
Yeah. I'll say maybe 32 to 35 then.
Okay, so you're going to go 32 to 35. Okay.
Taking everything into consideration.
Okay, yeah.
I think there are only 2 guys on that list from last year that will be in a higher position.
Well, that's what we're gonna get to that because it's good. I'm going to go that Jalen Hurts. I'm going to put Jalen Hurts 52 to 55.
Okay.
Wow, that's a big drop. I'll say 32 to 35.
I'm going to go big drop with Jalen. All right, here we go. Just from his peers, Lane Johnson's at 23. Now remember, coming off an injury-ravaged season. Where do you think his peers rank him going into this year? He was 23rd going into last year.
I think he's still highly thought of. I'll say right around this.
You get a 4-number range?
Yeah, I'll say 27 to 30.
Okay, so you get 27 to 30.
I
so
mean,
you have a slight drop.
When he was healthy, he was the same player that he's always been, and now he is healthy.
That was pretty much exactly where I was thinking too. I'll go a little bit lower just because of the age thing. I'll go 30 to 33.
So you're going a little lower, 30 to 33. I'm going to go. I'm going to be the bad one in this. I'm going to go. I'll go 30. I'm going to go 31 to 35. I'm going to go 31 to 35. I think he's fallen into the 30s, but not a lot. I just think that's a recency bias of what people saw last year. Zach Bond. Last year he was 26th. I think there's going to be a drop.
He'll be in the 50s at best.
And I don't know that that's deserved, and that's what, Andrew, I'm really interested in what you have to say about that. I think he's going to have a drop-off. Like, that's going to drop off.
Yeah, but he had a really good season last year. He hasn't played the position very long. He's grown into his role. He's a team leader for the Eagles. I think he's viewed. He's viewed very highly around the NFL. I'll say 35 to 38.
So you get 35 to 38. Okay, Connor.
I'll go 50 to 54.
Ooh, you're going.
Wait, what was he last year? I'm
26.
Sorry. Yeah, I'll say 35 to 38.
And I'm going to go 60 to 63.
Okay. I think he's backside of 50.
I think he got the hot girl vote last year. I think he was the hot girl like everybody all of a sudden he was the hot name.
Yeah, he was the defensive player of the year nominee.
He is one of the best off-ball linebackers in the NFL,
sure.
And it's not just reflected in tackles for loss. He can sack the quarterback. I think he had 3.5 sacks, can take the football away. So really well-rounded player.
Jalen Carter was 43rd going into last season. Is he the first one to climb to be better?
Well, he's coming off the injury-plagued season. I don't see it. He's still gonna be on the list, but I would imagine we're looking at like 50 to 53.
Okay, so you go 50 to 53, Connor?
Yeah, that's about where I'm at as well. We'll just use the same range on that one, 50 to 53.
So you're going 50 to 53.
Yeah, there's no way you could put him higher. He didn't have a better year last year.
Yeah.
How about this? I'm going to put him higher.
On what grounds?
I think he jumps. I think because I think these votes are what your peers think of you. I think his peers are going to vote him higher. I'm going to go 39 to 42. I think he climbs. He's going to be better than he was last year. He's the first Eagle to be better by his peers. Because I think they see him as an ascending player.
He is an ascending player. I wonder how much he's liked around the NFL after what he pulled on the opening night of the season.
Here's a player who has to jump, right? Quinyon Mitchell, 49th last year.
Hughes up.
49.
Oh, yeah.
So what's he up to?
I think he goes 30 to 33.
Okay, so you go 30 to 33. Connor, you going higher?
He's quickly becoming one of the best corners in the NFL.
I'm trying to think about all the guys out there. I want to put him in the 20s. I'll go 27 to 30.
So you're going 27 to 30.
He was an All-Pro last year.
There you go, 27 to 30.
Yeah, I mean, and I think if it's not Quinyon, if you watch the games, you know that you can see the dominance week in and week out, but maybe some of the other corners have the interceptions to go with it.
But players will know that.
Yes,
players will be able to say.
Exactly. That's what factors in here.
I go lowest of the number. I go Kincade 23 to 26.
Okay.
I think he is going to get a big jump from 49. I think he's jumping into the top sort of 25, that he'll get a big jump. Cooper DeJean, 60th last year. How high does he jump?
26 to 29. I think.
Holy moly, that's a jump.
I think Cooper DeJean's going to have a breakout season. And this is someone who can play.
This is his peers, right? Exactly.
But last season he took a leap. He can play three different positions.
Sure. That's a jump.
Yeah, my gut feeling would be 35 to 38, something around in that range.
All right.
He's a guy that is really, really well liked around the league.
He's well liked.
Yeah, and I think we all know why Cooper DeJean stands out a little bit in the class that he's in, and maybe that gets more eyes on the way that he plays.
Are you racially profiling?
Listen, man, the white corner is going to stand out. Let's not lie. And
well, he does.
Coop gets a lot of love for that, but also for his play. And he had a solid year last year. I don't know. We talked about this just real quick aside. Better year last year or rookie year?
Last year.
Last year, okay.
I think he was better last year.
Gotcha, because it was tough to evaluate with him missing the start of his rookie season due to injury. And he had, I think we expected more, so maybe with the bar being higher, it was hard for some people to tell. He's going to be higher on the list.
And he continues to take on more responsibilities.
Great point.
Highly intelligent football player. Quinyon Mitchell as well. These guys are, the Eagles have a embarrassment of riches there at corner.
Last one, Jordan Mailata. He was 69th last year going into the season by his peers, voted 69th. Is he better? Less?
He didn't have a great year last year.
He didn't have a great year, but it was sort of the outlier for him. I think the league is well aware of the player that he is. I would maybe say 60 to 63.
Okay. He gets 60 to 63.
Yeah. I'll say 55 to 58.
Oh, you go 55, 58. Okay.
I'll go slightly lower on the list. I'll go 71 to 74. I think he's generally in the same neighborhood as he was last year. Okay. I think that respect holds.
So 71, 74. I am going to go Jordan Mailata. I'm going to surprise you. I'm going to go 52, 55.
Okay, so I are in the same neighborhood.
You know what I'll do? I'll go 51. I'll go 51, 54, just so I don't overlap with your pick. I think Jordan Mailata is going to rise, and that's going to be surprising because we didn't think it was necessarily the greatest year. But
so we're in the same neighborhood.
Same neighborhood. Yeah, we're in the same block there. Any Eagle that will crash the list? I can't think of any other Eagle that would crash the top 100 list.
Do you mean as in regards to making it?
Yes.
I think Jordan Davis has a shot.
That's a great pick.
That's a great pick.
I think he should be in the top 100.
If Moro Jomo is able to replicate what he did, he had 6 sacks last
but remember,
year.
They're voting. They're voting. No, the votes are already in.
Yeah, they're already in.
The special's already in. So Jordan Davis, is he already in? Do you believe he's already in?
Yeah, I think he's probably anywhere from 80 to 100. I think he cracks that type of range.
Okay.
Devontae was going to be the guy I brought up.
Devontae does not, but he just doesn't get the love.
Well,
now, the thing is, because AJ's gone,
yes,
is that it?
Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert had 11 receiving touchdowns last year, 60 catches, career high, and I have trouble understanding why, but he just doesn't seem to be viewed among the top NFL tight ends, but I think he should be, and I think this year he's going to replicate much of the success that we saw last year.
Would it seem crazy to you that they lose A.J. Brown, and let's say Devontae and Jordan Davis make it, that this Eagles team would have more players in the top 100 going into this year than they did last year?
No, it tells you everything we knew about last year's team. It wasn't the talent level. It was a combination of health and the coaching ability. That's what it was. The offense was not because they lost talent. It was because that they had a guy that did not put together a plan that was clearly executable by the offense, and the offensive line was banged up to the point where you didn't have the time to develop plays the same way you did.
I would also add in player execution as well. That was a big part of it, but to your point, it had nothing to do with the talent level. The Eagles have quite a bit of talent on both sides of the ball, and punter Braden Mann, if you want to go there too.
I don't think they're going to.
I'm not saying he's going to be on the top 100. I'm saying they have talent on both sides of the ball.
Yes.
I'm looking at the third phase as well. Braden Mann is a hell of a punter.
Don't forget those special teamers.
I want to know
we appreciate them too.
I want to know what Andrew DiCecco thought about Nick Sirianni's comments earlier this week on A.J. Brown. If we can dig up that soundbite, I want to hear his comments on it. Plus, most won't admit it, but it's a fact. You're there for the party, not the event itself.
I believe that we will win.
We'll explain
that
next.
We will win.
Kincade Salciunas continues on the Fanatic.
Now, on 97.5 The Fanatic Sports Update.
Jalen Hurts is locked in. I'm Austin Jones with your Fanatic Sports Update. Over the offseason, Jalen Hurts has seemed to grow some doubters. So yesterday when Nick Sirianni had his press conference, reporters asked, does Jalen Hurts relish being doubted? And this is what the Eagles head coach had to say.
The best thing that Jalen does as far as his mentality with all that is his consistency. To know that you're doubted or being questioned, you have to pay attention to what's going on the outside. And one thing I know Jalen does is stays locked into the moment and what things that he can control.
Now, the Eagles are going to be off until late July. That's when training camp will begin. For the Phillies, they won another series, this time against the Blue Jays, but they did lose Adolis Garcia, who left early due to a pulled muscle in his right arm. He will get imaging done today. And then the Phillies are off to Milwaukee to face the Brewers. Andrew Painter will get the ball for the first start Friday night against Jacob Mizorowski. The New York Knicks completed the largest comeback in NBA Finals history, being down 29 points, and now they're up 3-1 in the NBA Finals. They head back to Texas to face the Spurs, as you can listen to the game Saturday night at 8:30 right here on The Fanatic. This update's also brought to you by the Makeup Group. Visit makeupgroup.com. The Makeup Group supports contractors with one of the largest PFE inventories, from pipe, valve, and fittings to trusted brands. Count on the Makeup Group to help you stay on schedule. Visit makeupgroup.com. I'm Austin Jones, home of the NBA Finals, 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
DiCecco. I'm gonna the people don't realize how much I'm gonna miss Andrew DiCecco.
Thanks, man.
I'm like
feelings mutual.
As having to leave. No, I will no longer be teaching at Temple now when we relocate, and so I said I would love it. It'd be a dream of mine if Andrew Salciunas could potentially take over my talk radio class, which I created at Klein College. He's a Klein College guy. He's a stud here in Philly radio. And what does DiCecco say? Did you ask him if he wants to?
I think that's a fair question.
Did you just Connor? I'm not volunteering him to take a job.
I worry about the two of you molding the minds of a generation of kids coming out of town. I don't know.
John Kincade wants Pop Salciunas to teach the next generation.
Well, I got to tell you this. That would shock the kids, is that Pop would be actually, they'd go, wait a minute. How did the guy with the gray hair, how is he actually younger than the guy than this guy? But I think Andrew would be great at it. So
I think so, too.
We're going to see what we can do. I love, though, DiCecco to say to me, did you ask him if he wants to? I didn't just volunteer him.
Oh, that's good.
I'd love to. But you didn't put it past me.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know with you, John. You're a wild card.
All right. Speaking of that, by the way, if you read the front page of today's Philadelphia Inquirer, my next-door neighbor, Mark McLaughlin. We love the McLaughlins. In fact, one of the greatest things about building our house and living in our neighborhood was living next door to the McLaughlins. Mark's father... Now, Mark went to Judge, so he went to a girls' school. But his father went to North Catholic.
Okay.
And his dad, Benny McLaughlin, is featured on the front page of the Inquirer today.
Oh, that's
in
awesome.
a piece by Mac Breen. He is the Phillies soccer pioneer who couldn't get off work to play in the World Cup. You have to read the story, but he was part of the reason that the U.S. team qualified for World Cup play in 1950. And then couldn't get off work. You'll have to read the story. Matt Breen did a beautiful job with it. And Matt Breen does a great job with mostly any story he touches. But go read the story about Benny McLaughlin and read about it. And then Mark got the smarts in the McLaughlin tree. He got a lot of smarts from it. He didn't get his father's, Studley athleticism because I played golf with him and everything.
Yeah, I feel him, though.
Can't
They asked me if I wanted to play on this year's team, and I was like, I got to do Kincade and Salciunas. I'm sorry, I can't make it. So Team USA is going to be down a man tomorrow night.
The way you walk doing anything on Mondays, it's like you just sort of, I don't know if it's the way you walk.
I'm shifty. You think I'm slow, and then I'm quick, deceptively fast.
It's the short area quickness about Connor that
they
I
don't
think
know about it, Andrew.
It's really the notable piece of his scouting
Put me in
report.
the 3-cone drill, and you're going to see something special.
Go read it, though. Benny McLaughlin. And from North Catholic, a school that accepts that men go to. So you can check that out. Just admit it, Connor. And Andrew DiCecco, too. I know. Andrew DiCecco likes a party on his terms.
Yeah, on my terms.
On his terms. You are
who's there? How many people?
You are of the Ricky Batalico DNA. Ricky Batalico wants to know who's there.
How many people?
Who's coming? What's going on? But then you're up for the party.
Well, that's why Ricky and I just hit it off right away.
Once you've hit the criteria, the two of you are in. But you're in for the party, but there's certain criteria that must be checked.
Yes, and it would be I'm pretty infrequent, so it would have to be like the rare occasion. Otherwise, I'm kind of just reclusive in that way.
I'm looking forward to the World Cup soccer tournament. And I'm looking forward to going out and watching some of these matches that the USA's involved. Until we get to the end, where I don't expect the USA to still be playing. I don't hope that doesn't make me the ugly American. That just makes me the smart American. I'm actually, because the quality of the play is just exceptional towards the end. It's amazing. Mm-hmm. But I'm actually want to go watch some of these American matches with other people, but not the 10 o'clock at night one. I can't do it when we're waking up at 4 in the morning.
I'm staying. Listen, if USA's playing, I'm staying up.
Yeah, but you're not going out for it, are you?
I might. It might be a long nap day. You got to support the country, man.
He's young. He's got youth on his side, John.
He does.
You and I, it's not going to happen.
That's not happening.
But I'm be
watching it, yes. Watching it, yes. But I mean, but being out for it, no.
But I'm going to be out today watching Mexico take on South Africa in the kickoff match.
Well, you know what, John? I guess he's just built different.
Yeah, you know what he is.
Is that what you're looking for, Connor?
No, you know what you are? He's built for the party.
I like the party.
And Connor is going to do, all of a sudden, I've been hearing the footy and all these other terms. It is like the week before the NCAA tournament, the weekend, like 3 days before the Kentucky Derby, and Connor is going to be one of these people. And you all work with them, you're related to some of them, and you know them. That now all of a sudden, they're soccer guys. They're all soccer guys now, and they're going to be big soccer guys. When in reality, they're just there for the party, which, by the way, I do not knock you. The party's going to be great. And anything that involves the USA beating up on another nation, I am all in for. Count me in. I want to be there too. But I'm also not going to lie to you and act like, yeah, I'm a big soccer guy. There are going to be more faux soccer fans on sports radio, in sports media, on Twitter, on social media in the next 3 weeks. It's going to make you gag.
It doesn't bother me at all.
Now, I am curious about this, and it's a rare occasion, so I probably will, check it out. But, you know,
the fakes are coming out.
Yeah,
you
but
know it's going to be,
I'll check out the gatherings, these parties that you're speaking of, but I probably won't hang too long.
But you won't be passing yourself off as, like, some big soccer.
No.
Look, but there will be.
I think you appreciate my authenticity.
Do you think our peers, do you think there will be many of our peers that will?
I couldn't tell you.
Answer. Come on now.
I'll say yes.
Yeah, I believe it.
I mean, I'm going to be big into it. I'm excited for what this World Cup is.
I would say to them that the same people would tell you they're big into it.
You and I won't claim that. I certainly won't claim that.
Probably could not name you 3 players on the roster. They probably could not name you 3 players on the U.S. roster. But they're going to be big into it. I tried this the other day around my golf club. I tried this with, I'm big into it. Can't wait for USA Soccer Day. Who are the 3 biggest guys in the team you're excited to watch?
You should say that right away whenever anybody says that.
It's like glazed over look, and I'm like, so you're not really big into it. You're just going to pretend you're big into it.
Well, when somebody says that to you, say, who are you most looking forward to seeing out there? Just curious.
I'm
trying to brush up. Who should I be watching for?
Who should I watch for? Because I'm trying to brush up on it.
There's going to be more fake fans.
That's fine. It sounds like you're gatekeeping the World Cup here.
No, I'm not, because I say enjoy. No, I want people to be out and enjoying it. I want people to go. I want you at a garage or wherever you want to go. I want you out there every night having a great time. I want the restaurants packed. I want the bars packed. But I just want people to be authentic, like DeCecco.
Bars open till 4.
Don't be acting like you're big soccer guys. Don't be trying to pass yourself.
Enjoy yourself, because this is it's a rare occasion, So
it is a rare occasion, and it's going to be fun to watch.
It's going to be awesome.
How good are they, Connor?
Team USA? They're going to win their group.
Well, the group is made up of like little sisters of the poor.
Listen, man, getting into the knockout rounds for what Team USA Soccer has been at points in the past, that's an accomplishment. They get into the knockout round even with a rough group, that's fine, and you never know, because this is not what you saw in the Olympics when Team USA was playing over in France, right, for basketball, where there's so many points scored that if there's an overmatched team, you got no shot. Like, one goal here, one goal there, you never know in the international soccer world. They're not going to win the tournament. They may win one game in the knockout rounds when they get there. But if they do that, you're going to see a lot of people really jump on the bandwagon the same way you did with Team USA Hockey. And obviously that team was a gold medal contender.
And I love the people. I'm okay with the people, like everybody jumping on and saying, hey, put on your red, white, and blue and enjoy yourself.
So what's your number, John?
Have a good time.
We have about 22 heads here at the Fanatic. And just doing a quick yay or nay down the list of, the wonderful employees we have here.
Like who could be the fake fans?
No, because I said people that have actual general interests. I'll give you some names.
Okay.
Ray Dunn.
Yes, interested.
Yeah,
absolutely. And by the way, authentic interest.
You got Nate in the back. You have Rodman in the back.
Who Hooters pants? Nate, male Hooters girl. Nate, absolutely authentic.
Mm-hmm.
And yes.
And we also have Matt Menark.
Matt Menark, authentic, huge soccer guy.
And honestly, that's kind of where my list goes.
Sean Brace will probably be.
Sean Brace.
I was thinking Brace, but
Brace.
But when you hear Brace, you don't know sometimes if he's being a smart aleck or if he's actually in. So
Sean too. I know this. Sean will make the effort to make sure that if he's acting authentic, that he's made the effort to. John Marks has a lot of DeCecco DNA. John Marks doesn't try to fool his audience. John Marks doesn't try to pretend what he's not.
Now, I'm not going to lie. I've always wanted to get into soccer. I've had good conversations. I think going back to my rookie diary with Eli Ricks, he was a big soccer guy, and I just don't have the bandwidth to be able to get into that sport. All my energy and effort is put into covering the Philadelphia Eagles and, learning even more about the intricacies of, the game as it evolves.
Tomorrow night at 9, Team USA plays. We can go out, grab a couple pops. I'll teach you a thing or two.
Like
you can't use your hands in this.
Connor
9.
Tried to, teach me the game.
He could, though. He could with some of it.
Also, if you want to learn more about the game and more about some great events, you can join John Marks and Sean Brace and Ray Dunn live from Bet Parks today, Sportsbook at Parks Casino. They're out from 10 to 2, so they're not in studio. They're out for the Bet Parks Summer Soccer Fest. So that comes your way next.
I was 62% against the spread last year in the NFL. I could teach you a little bit about gambling in the NFL.
I don't gamble.
I can be going, hey, you love Parks Casino. Hey, we're going to get the final poll results on the Jalen Carter poll, and we're going to put a big bow on today's festivities. Plus, we're going to be ready to throw it up to Parks Casino coming up in just a few minutes. Kincade Salciunas wrapping up on 97.5 The Fanatic. I just saw Sean Brace on social media, and if you have not, check it out. He's dressed as Uncle Sam. And I'm telling you, it's absolutely glorious.
He's all in on the World Cup.
Sean Brace is in on a good time. Like, if there's a good time, I have a feeling his GPS finds it.
Probably.
And I have a feeling he's welcome. He's welcome.
The ultimate vibes guy.
He's a great vibes guy. To hell with Garrett Stubbs. I mean, seriously.
Garrett Stubbs catching strays.
Yeah. No, but I'm just saying I have only known Sean Brace before working here. I only knew Sean from social media contact from the industry and knowing some of his work. I never knew him. From the minute he walked in this door, he is just like a cold front of you immediately know it's a hot day and you get the air conditioning.
Yeah.
He just sort of puts a smile on your face, and he's a goofball.
Yeah, you also got to let the people know what's up. Like, I had some of my buddies send a picture of the hotel across from them in Center City, and there's all the Brazilian flags that are up in the window because they'll be playing a match in Philadelphia. You got to represent your country because there's going to be a lot of people from around the world coming in here. We're strong sports fans here in the U.S. of A.
Have you guys, real
lot
quick,
of attention on Philly, man.
have you guys seen all the incoming fans and all the American terrible food they say that they've been trying? Like, they're getting hyped up on Taco Bell, Chili's.
So they're liking the crappy food?
Watching Europeans discover, like, what a Buc-ee's is one of the greatest things you can find on social media right now. They're like, this is a gas station?
They love the 72 gulp from 7-Eleven right now.
It's incredible.
I'm going to tell you this.
Welcome to America,
Big
folks.
gulps, huh? Well, see you later.
When a young man out of college, living and cable TV was different. You didn't have as many channels. You probably had like 30 channels, 35 channels. And Telemundo was you had one of the at that time, everybody in Philly just called it the Spanish channel. And they would have the Miss Brazil pageant.
Now we're talking.
And I think I watched the Miss Brazil pageant quite often. And I would just tell you, if Brazil's playing, I wouldn't mind attending.
That's appointment TV.
That's appointment TV.
Just like The Price is Right with Johnny.
They can do that, too. It's right around the corner.
June 29th, 11 a.m.
18 days away. Me and Drew. See what happens. See what happens. All right, what's the final poll results? Dr. Avidan Appel kept that poll up all morning long. How deserving do you believe Jalen Carter is of a huge contract extension? And we never got the vote from Andrew DeCecco. I want to hear what the audience voted first.
Alrighty, so still leading the way for the rest of the show. Cautiously optimistic at 63%, no-brainer at 20%, and very nervous at 7%.
So nobody's nervous for the most part. We could write off the nervous Nellies. So 93% of the people are either cautiously optimistic of giving him a huge contract, but no-brainer comes in second, and we all voted no-brainer.
Yeah, I would say no-brainer. This is a young player. He's an all-pro. He's a pro bowler. He has been very productive when he hasn't had the shoulder ailment that plagued him last season. He fits in really well with what the Eagles are doing with Jordan Davis. He's taken to the tough coaching of Vic Fangio. It's not, you don't have to squint to see his long-term projection being nothing short of spectacular.
Yeah, you're overthinking this if you're voting cautiously optimistic. Anything other than no-brainers overthinking the situation. Okay,
could the cautiously optimistic people be leaning more on the lack of dedication at times to his physical training, the immaturity, and things like that?
Sure, but hear what I'm saying here, right? The talent like Jalen Carter doesn't come around often. Like, we could be talking, when all things are said and done, about a generational caliber interior defensive lineman if he reaches his ceiling. It's like the Kyle Schwarber re-sign conversation from this past offseason for the Phillies. Were there questions about the length of the contract, the age of the player? Absolutely. But when a guy's second in MVP voting and he becomes a free agent and he wants to be back in the city with the same team, it is a no-brainer to go sign him because you can't find that power hitter on the street. You can't find a Jalen Carter on the street. You probably won't draft one for the next 20, 25 years. Like, this is a guy that, while there are drawbacks, the full package turns into a no-brainer because there are not talent levels of that guy available to you very often, and you have him in-house. You keep those players.
Let's hear what Nick Sirianni said about A.J. Brown when he was questioned about A.J. Brown and leaving the organization?
Well, Howie and I discuss everything. As you guys know, we talk through everything, and again, so many things that he did that was good for our football team, and always will wish him the best of luck. And but like I said, really excited about the guys in that room and where we are. But this is a team game. To your question, and just in every decision, that I make and decisions that Howie makes, we talk to each other about it. What a good teammate that I have with Howie Roseman, to be able to go to battle with, and that's like that with everything.
How pointed did you think that was? His comments?
Yeah, I didn't think it was especially strong, one way or the other. Now, I assume you're thinking about the team.
Well, he says about it. He goes, yeah, like he says about being like he's pointing out there is that, but it's a team game,
and we
we have a good team.
And for me, that my interpretation was not one player is above the team. We're going to persevere through this, and he talked about how intrigued he is with the receiver room right now, but he also acknowledged the player and AJ and what they were able to do in Philadelphia. So
it's interesting because yesterday we played that for Adam Schefter, and he was like, yeah, it sounds like he's talking about AJ Brown. Then we talked to Zach Berman about it, and he's like, I didn't take it that way at all. So
he felt different.
You're more in the camp of it wasn't very pointed. It was just
I didn't read it as pointed comments or anything.
Okay.
Like
well,
that.
remember he went also 2-on-2. Everybody wants to be an All-Pro. Everybody wants the stats. But it's about the team. It's about team winning.
Yeah, but that's a common sentiment that Nick Sirianni has in different ways.
Oh, yeah, it is.
In different ways has sort of conveyed over the years. He's all about the team concept. How many times have you heard him say, the beautiful thing about this game is that it takes everyone and things like that. And understand that in this system, there's going to be a lot of spraying the football around.
Thank you, Nate. Thank you, Rod Mania. Thank you, Austin Jones. Great job, Andrew Pacheco. We'll see you next week.
Yes, sir.
Great job, Connor Thomas, in for Andrew Salciunas. Hey, Middays with Marks comes your way next. And Connor's going to be up late watching USA Soccer.
That's tomorrow night.
Oh, wow.
One more night to get ready.
Then that means we get to sleep tonight. We'll be with you tomorrow morning at 6. Middays with Marks, live from Parks Casino, next on The Fanatic.